It's a new time, a new place. But these guys have done this before.
I had no idea we were going to draft Blaine Gabbert. Did your jaw just drop?
Yeah, it did. Did you sense the silence?
I doubt Gene Smith was on Twitter.
I don't know. You never know, man. Gene Smith might have a couple burner accounts out there.
You look at these media guys. These are the weakest people on earth.
Why
do I think he's talking to me and not
Brent,
6'6", 245 Austen Lane
Brent, are you listening right now?
It's Austen Lane.
You're taking away my comfort food in the most uncomfortable year of all time.
It's Brent Martineau.
We call it a Minshew Monday here on Action Sports Shacks. But those are more crapshoot picks, man. I mean, you can get Telvin Smith and you can get, oh, yeah.
From Jacksonville to wherever you stream, watch, and listen. Welcome to the Brent and Austen Show.
Who needs a Super Bowl commercial? We went viral over the weekend without it. We just need the gram. There was a time that you didn't want to be on the gram. It's a good thing we are with this show. We'll get to that part in a little bit because that was kind of wild to watch and see unfold in real time. And, so was the Super Bowl. Super Bowl 58 in the books. Goodbye, NFL season 2023. And hello, 2024. And you know what? I say it all the time. Anytime I have a microphone in front of my face, if we're talking about the NFL just does not lose.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't lose. It's amazing. This game was a snoozer. I was sleeping in the first half. Really, I was sleeping even at 16-16, it felt like. Even though the game was tied, it was still boring. And it ends up with a heck of a finish and a really good game. And I think I had some people be like, was that the greatest Super Bowl of all time? I was like, I don't think so. Like, I didn't feel that way. But it was pretty good. And now we get all the stuff. And now everybody who just can't wait to crown people like Patrick Mahomes, the GOAT, we are infatuated with making someone the greatest of all time in this era of sports. Like, we are just Why do we do that? Like, why are we so excited to get Patrick Mahomes past Tom Brady now, even though we all know in our minds that has to take time? We need another 10 years for that to play out.
No, I just think we as a sports society, we love to live in the moment and in the present. And to say that you're living in the moment right now, Patrick Mahomes, like, it's cool to see. I remember, way back on the show, we said we will never see another thing like Tom Brady again. Like, it's not going to happen in the NFL. Like, teams they're too comparable. You're never going to see a back-to-back-to-back Super Bowl winner. So, like, what you saw with Tom Brady is what you get, and it will never be that good again. And then here comes Patrick Mahomes literally a couple years later, and is essentially repeating what Tom Brady has done. So it's wild from that standpoint, but I just think we love to witness greatness, right? We love to say, I was a part of that. I was there. I got to watch that live. So I think with Patrick Mahomes now, I think people are kind of, whether you're sick and tired of him or not, like I said, I'll tolerate him, but I appreciate his greatness just because, I'm going to say it again, we may never see a quarterback like Patrick Mahomes again.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. I was at an event last night, this V for Victory event, which we'll probably see a little bit later on, which is really cool. It was a Super Bowl party at Craig Airport in a hangar for a great cause. Cool. And Jay Gruden was there. And so I was kind of emceeing this roundtable with Jeff Lageman and Jay Gruden and Chris Doering and some of the golf guys like Furyk and Fred Funk were there too. And when we were talking about the Super Bowl, Jay Gruden, like, without hesitation, called Patrick Mahomes the greatest of all time. And so later on, when we came back up, I was like, wait a minute, that still resonates with you. You like just unequivocally said he's the greatest of all time. Like, he's not even there yet. And his reasoning was, hey, if you give me 21-year-old Joe Montana, 21-year-old Patrick Mahomes, 21-year-old Tom Brady, I'm taking Patrick Mahomes all day. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, I get that. And I'll get into some of the other things he said about Mahomes just to make him so unique and different a little bit later on. But I was like, oh, I can come with that. But I lived through the Brady had to chase down Montana era, and he had to eclipse him in Super Bowls for anybody to admit it, for anybody to be like, he's the greatest. We're living through a LeBron James that nobody will allow him to eclipse Michael Jordan because he doesn't have enough rings.
Correct.
He's got every other measurable. He leads the planet in every statistical category of all time, but he doesn't have enough rings, so we can't push him there. Now, there's a younger generation that wants to push him there, I get it, but the older generation won't. So it just fascinates me that we are already like, Brady Mahomes, Brady Mahomes, Brady Mahomes, Brady Mahomes. If it comes down to Super Bowls, it doesn't matter right now. It's a heck of a start. He's on pace, like all that tracking.
Yeah.
But we ain't even close.
No, so the whole, MJ, LeBron, GOAT debate, like, listen, Michael Jordan will always be the GOAT. And to me, yes, it is about the rings, but to me, what even sticks out more is the fact that Jordan in the finals, untouchable.
Yeah.
And that's when, like, the cameras are on you the most. That's when the lights are the brightest. And Jordan always did his thing. So that's where I stand with the whole GOAT debate. Getting back to Brady and Mahomes, listen, Tom Brady is going to always be the GOAT as well, right? It's just simple as that. But I'm saying and I see maybe what Gruden's trying to say here, from a quarterback standpoint, right? Like, you can argue and say that when Brady was in his prime, if you put Brady on every single NFL team, would he have elevated him to the point where they could make a playoff run and go to the Super Bowl? I would have a hard time saying probably not, right? Because he wasn't the most mobile guy, right? He had a pretty good offensive line throughout his career, had a pretty good run game. Obviously, the coaching was great. I think if you put Patrick Mahomes on any team right now in the NFL, they automatically qualify to be a playoff contender.
Yeah. We can involve some of these conversations as we go along. Obviously, got another full week number 2 here at the Brent and Austen Show, but also 3 hours to get to here until 1 o'clock today. But I want to hit some of the big headlines along with that because I tweeted this last night, and this goes along this conversation. I heard it was Bill Cowher, and then I got in the car, and I think it was Golick or maybe it was Kurt Warner. And, like, as they're describing the game, they're like, and then Patrick Mahomes. And they got Patrick Mahomes. And I was like, wait a minute. We are missing a big part of this game. To get to the Patrick Mahomes part of the story, can we read Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 first? Because Chapter 1 was Kansas City's defense. Mm-hmm. And Chapter 2 was Kansas City's special teams. Okay. That allowed Patrick Mahomes in this offense to really have a chance down the end. Because Patrick Mahomes in this offense, I'd say it was their fault. I think it was more San Francisco, what they were doing defensively. They weren't running this show last night. It took 3.5, 4 hours for the Patrick Mahomes effect to really take effect.
No, for sure. But once again, I think Andy Reid gets lost in all of this.
Well, and that's fair too. I mean,
no doubt. I think, and I've said this all week, and I'm still going to continue to say this. I think Andy Reid should be celebrated a lot more than he's getting celebrated right now, right? I mean, he's like the 5th or 6th or 7th story right now that you see trending. And I think it should be number one, because if you look at what happened in that game, especially in the first half, obviously nothing was going right for the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes looked a little shaky. The internal clock was off. San Fran's defensive line was coming home with 4 the entire night. Bosa, Chase Young were getting after him. So, yeah, there was a lot of adversity in that first half with the Kansas City Chiefs. Not to mention Travis Kelce going absolutely ballistic on the sidelines, getting in Andy Reid's face. And listen, you got to laugh at that. Let me ask you this. On the biggest stage in all professional sports, how many coaches just stand there, don't do anything, have a calm demeanor about it, and go back to the locker room for halftime and give a speech?
Yeah.
Because I saw Doug Marrone do this against Jalen Ramsey, and that's not what happened.
Yeah, it was a very interesting exchange. And you got to know your players, right? I mean, Kelsey's Kelsey. Kelsey has a short fuse sometimes. Kelsey's a guy that's been ejected before. I think he got ejected in a Jags game in Kansas City years ago. We were there for it. He's cooled some of that, but he Christmas Day, he was that guy. And you kind of get it. I think we've been around sports to know. I understand why that's like, whoa. And if you don't like Kelsey, you're like, what an idiot. He's bumping a 65-year-old man, almost knocking him down on the sideline. But I think if you've been around sports, I think every coach would be like, I know my guy. That's my guy.
Sure.
It's a lot, but I know what he's doing.
Yeah.
And Reid handles that stuff very well.
Well, he handled it very well, and I thought it was a horrible look for Kelsey, though. You just don't do that, man. Especially bump into him. And I get it. You're heated, and then the emotions are high, but you regardless of what your skills dictate, and I get it, man. If you're maybe the best of all time in terms of tight end position, it gives you a little more leeway. I get that, but you can't bump into your coach. But nevertheless,
would have been a huge story, by the way, if they lost, probably.
Oh, without a doubt. And it's once again kind of on the back burner. But the fact that Reid could take all that stuff, because they didn't look good. I mean, there's really miscommunications, there was fumbles, they just did not look on the same page. Good. No, he didn't. But then that second half, whatever the speech was, whatever the message was, Reid comes out and they kind of turn things around a little bit. So yeah, obviously that Chiefs defense shined when they had to. I think that Andy Reid getting his offense together with some great play calling, especially towards the end. Pulling some stuff out that they hadn't seen before. I guess they were saying it was a collective effort, obviously. But once again, kudos to Andy Reid. I mean, one of the best to ever do it.
Here's the other thing. Spagnuolo is unbelievable. He's got 4 rings now. He did a great job, too. I mean, the San Francisco, both defensive coaches did a wonderful job in this game. And then the offense has figured it out a little bit as the guys got tired or things started to open up, I would say, with about 10 minutes to go in the game. And it started to turn into more of that offensive deal. But, again, this is what I said last time. Defense, special teams, man, was 8 points without even counting the 57-yard kick, which was a record. But
Sure.
I mean, there was a point-blank touchdown by Mahomes to make it 13-10 because of the snafu on the punt. Mm-hmm. Then you had the blocked extra point, which turns out to be huge in a game that goes to overtime. So you just can't lose sight of that. And that's not me taking away from Mahomes. I just think we go to quarterback all the time. It's why the MVP has to be a quarterback now. We just don't as much as we love football and we talk about football and we're all knowledgeable about football, even the average Joe is knowledge about football. We just ignore everything else that happens in a game and go to the end of it and say, oh, there's Patrick Mahomes, greatest of all time. This was not a Patrick Mahomes game. This was a defensive game. This was a special teams game. Those are the areas that they won the football game in to then put their guy in position to do his thing. And by the way, when Patrick needed to do his thing, guess who also did his thing? A guy that had been pretty quiet all night, Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
When they needed the big play, they went to Kelce and they got the big plays, and then they won it and made the plays down the stretch. So, I mean, there's so much of that. I don't like that gets lost. I think there's so much more game. I mean, they do play it to not sound like a coach whenever there's more than one play in a game, more than one play. Like there really is. I mean, there are a lot of different moments in that football game, and that gets you to the San Francisco side of things. Shanahan. Mm-hmm. I'm not a huge Shanahan guy.
Oh, no, this has been clear since I got back on the show.
But I actually think Shanahan did a wonderful job in this game for the most part. There was a lull in that game where you were like, why aren't they giving it to McCaffrey more?
Yeah.
But as you look at the stat sheet, like you take a look back and you see how the game plays out, it's hard not to defend Shanahan. They ran the ball 31 times, something they wanted to do. Hit 30 touches for McCaffrey. 30 touches for 160 yards. Was he supposed to have more than 30?
But if that's the case, then bring somebody in for him and keep running the ball.
Well, they had 31 rushes.
Oh, I got you. I can see what you're saying. Okay.
So, like, as it shakes out, now maybe you had to get that because of the overtime. It was one extra drive. But, I mean, as this thing plays out, I have a hard time blaming Shanahan against a pretty good defense. They scored 22 points with a quarterback that isn't Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I thought San Francisco and Shanahan and Wilkes, I thought those guys played a really good football game.
No, I mean, okay, so here's what I see with that. Obviously, that overtime period, it was a lot of Christian McCaffrey. So, you know, there was a lot of yards that came from that. I mean, they were kind of pounding the rock down Kansas City's throat because both teams were obviously gassed. I think Christian McCaffrey had a heavy workload, and he might have been getting a little fatigued. But if that's the case, like if running the ball is working, which it was working, then you have other running backs that can help you out. And that was my biggest thing is you had Kansas City on their heels, right? They had, once again, they stop the run every once in a while, and that's fine. But you keep doing what works, especially with Brock Purdy, who, all things considered, for his first Super Bowl, did pretty dang good for such a young guy. But why put it all on his shoulders then, right? Why not run the ball even more? Like I get it, 30 times is a lot. Fine. Well, let's make it 40 times. Yeah. Like if it's working, then keep going to it.
You can run him into the ground. Like I can go with you there. I just think it's not like you look up at the stat sheet and it's 16 times for McCaffrey got the ball.
No, I mean, I get it, especially in Jacksonville, right, where we always try, how come Travis Etienne didn't get a couple more carries? Like, yeah, that's been a problem here in Jacksonville, and I get, like, that wasn't necessarily the case for the Super Bowl, but once again, you do with what works, and what's working to me was running the ball.
Yeah, and he called the right play. I mean, it worked. Jawan Jennings, I thought the play was about to get blown up, but he throws a touchdown. I mean, they converted. Listen, they got the 2nd and 4 and over. It was a beautiful drive. They got the 2nd and 4, and then they didn't capitalize inside the 10-yard line, or they probably win the game. So then it goes to the other part of this. Again, these are a lot of stories we can continue to develop, jump in, get your thoughts, but we want to just hit some of the highlights before we take a break on a Monday here following Super Bowl 58, where the Chiefs are Super Bowl champs back-to-back years, and obviously this dynasty of the Chiefs continues. But take the ball or don't take the ball. I think we're all learning about overtime. Apparently, all the San Francisco 49ers players are still learning about overtime.
Yeah, see, that whole story coming out now where San Francisco was not cued in on exactly what the rules were. Yeah. And supposedly Chris Jones, I think it was, came out and said that Kansas City, like the first day of practice and, in training camp, they were going over the overtime rules just in case, which I'm not sure if that's more of just trying to put Andy Reid on even more of a pedestal.
Yeah.
Like, do you really think that the Chiefs, the first day of training camp, were like, hey, guys, all right.
We're in the Super Bowl.
Forget expectations, forget team goals. Let's go and talk about the overtime rules in the Super Bowl because we're probably going to have to go through that.
Maybe.
Like, I don't know, man. I don't know. But nevertheless.
Maybe Chris Jones lost his calendar a little bit.
No, for sure. There was a lot of confusion, though, with the new overtime rules. Like, I didn't know that was going to take part until they explained it to me. Tony Romo didn't really know it was taking part through that whole process because if I had $1 for the time Tony Romo said, this is for the Super Bowl, well, not quite, Tony. They get a chance to rebuttal, and they get the ball back. So
I'll give you the one that we didn't know. We're debating in there because we're actually on TV on Action Sports Shacks Primetime, so we weren't listening to all of that we're watching. It was like the worst nightmare, actually. The game wasn't over in time. But a little inside the business thing. But we didn't know if the clock ran out, if it rolls over, or if you're done. Like if that quarter just ends, do you have to finish the possession? And so we were debating. I thought it ran out.
Oh, no way. No.
But yeah, it would have rolled over is the answer.
Over,
but I'm just saying, not listening to the game, not seeing that before, and they both had long drives. Mm-hmm. We're like, hey, do they have to start calling timeouts inside the 2-minute warning type thing? But it would have rolled over.
Yeah.
So do you take the ball or not?
So here's where I stand, and this is probably one of the biggest debates I've seen so far on social media in terms of how the Super Bowl shook out. Because one would think, well, why didn't San Francisco then choose to defer, put their defense out there, see what Kansas City does, and then respond that way?
In college, that's what everybody would do, and both teams get the ball.
Correct. See, I come from a little different school of thought here of how that game shook out because both teams were extremely fatigued. I mean, guys were pulling hamstrings, getting cramps. Shout out to Dre Greenlaw, who just the creepiest, freakiest injury I've ever seen in my entire life. Yeah. So the guys were banged up. Guys were fatigued. If I'm San Francisco and I see, okay, our best chance to win here is if we have their defense on their heels and we can rest our defense a little bit, then so be it. Right? So I have no problem with
logic.
I have no problem with, and once again, I'm not sure this is the thought process or not. Probably not, because the guys sound a little confused with what was going on with these overtime rules. But if I was Shanahan, I'm like, all right, let's give my defense as much rest as possible. I get it, it's Patrick Mahomes, but I like a fresher defense against Patrick Mahomes against a defense that's pretty banged up and fatigued right now.
I get the logic of what you just said. I get the logic of if you do both punt the ball or kick field goals, you're the one that gets the bonus possession.
Correct.
Because you get that next possession.
Now, one could argue, well, knowing Andy Reid, he'd probably go for 2 points, right? Like if you score a touchdown and then it's the Chiefs' turn, I'm sure Reid probably goes for 2 because, well, he's the master 2-point conversion. So, like, you have to put that into account as well. But I'm trying to set my players up for success. I think success means taking my offense against a defense who's obviously already winded. I buy my defense some time and then put them back out there.
Well, I would not. I would have done it the other way. Okay. I get all the logic. Like, I understand it all, and it's okay. And actually, they put together a heck of a drive. They really did. They didn't finish it off, and then their defense didn't stop them. So whatever the way I don't blame Shanahan for what he did. I just would have done it different. Okay. And I actually thought it put more pressure on Purdy running them out there first, because you know that if you don't get the drive done, the other guy's going to, right? That's kind of the Mahomes effect a little bit there, the aura of Mahomes.
But let me ask you this. What's more pressure to Purdy? You put Mahomes out there, they score a touchdown. All right, young kid, got to score a touchdown now.
I know. I get
the game's all on you, because if you don't score a touchdown, you lose.
I get it. So it's a catch either way. Maybe they lose. But to your point, if you do stop them, or if they go score a touchdown, now you go score a touchdown, you can have the decision to go for the 2-point conversion. Mm-hmm. So you really put a lot in your hands if you defer. Mm-hmm. I can see it both ways. I don't think that's why they lost the game. And it turned out, actually, Shanahan was right, because they couldn't stop him. So if they didn't stop them, they really needed the score, and then they were going to hopefully get it again and try to score again. So fascinating game. It really turned out to be a really good game. I mean, Sawyer says that was the best Super Bowl I've ever seen, and Mahomes is amazing. He is the best QB I've ever seen. Yeah. Z Fortin 89. Brady going to the Bucs and winning was a big deal. Showed it wasn't just Belichick in the system. We need to see Mahomes do it without Reid. I don't know if we need to see that. I think at some point he's going to have to do that. I don't think Reid's coaching for the next 10 years. Yeah. I think Reid might coach for another handful of years, but he's going to eventually have to win it without Andy Reid, I think, if you're going to get up to the 5, 6, 7 Super Bowls.
Which one is yours?
To catch up.
How do you think that Philadelphia feels about letting Andy Reid go? I mean, I get it. They end up winning a Super Bowl because of it, so like you can't be too upset. But like if you're an Eagles fan right now, because remember, when they let him go, it wasn't like things were that bad. I mean, a lot of NFC Championship games were there. So if we're talking about Andy Reid going to Kansas City, having all this success, especially from a team who the previous year had won 2 games, what do you think the thoughts are in Philly?
Let's hold that question. Let's take a break. We come back, we'll talk more about that. Brent and Austen Show, Super Bowl 58 in the books, the NFL season in the books. And there's a look live at TPC Sawgrass. We do this every Monday. We just go to TPC Sawgrass, I guess, the stadium course, on a beautiful morning inside a month ago until the Players' Championship. They just had a big celebrity shootout on the 17th hole for $50,000. We'll take you there in just a bit. Check in with Stuart Weber on an absolute gorgeous day out there in Ponte Vedra. And, of course, we've got more Super Bowl talk here on the Brent and Austen Show. Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you, so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Bartram branch, the one I usually come to. And they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans. And I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org so you can just be yourself.
Start your morning right. Start your morning right.
A new day, a new traffic headache. But Action News Jax traffic expert Maritza Ross is here to guide all kinds of daily drivers, like the traffic dodgers,
Don't worry, I'm going to get you around this mess on I-95.
the side street seekers,
Now you can exit early on 17 due
the
to...
last minute leavers.
If you're getting a late start this morning, here are your fastest routes.
So let Maritza save you time on Action News Jax this morning.
Start your morning right.
Navigating to that perfect car can be a daunting task. Trust me, I understand, but if you want to find the perfect blend of sales and service for your automotive needs, look no further than the Tom Bush family of dealerships.
Here at Tom Bush, they do things right. Dating back to 1970, they've been a staple in the community, giving back and keeping everything local. With 4 different brands to choose from, BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, and Mini, there's a car for every member of the family, and the customer service is second to none. Looking to add an electric vehicle to your fleet? Tom Bush remains at the forefront of new technology with plenty of staff on hand to walk you through the future of driving and help eligible customers file for that EV tax credit.
Whether you're looking for your future driver's first car or you want to step up to luxury and arrive in style, the Tom Bush family of dealership is the only stop that you need to make.
Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory at tombush.com.
I've been forecasting the weather for a long time, and no matter where I go, I always get asked the same question.
Hey, Mike, what's the weather gonna be like?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, hey, what's the weather going to be like?
I don't mind being asked because I always have the answer. Great day for a perfect round of golf. Hey, a little rain later today. So go ahead, ask me.
Hey, Mike, I'm heading out. What's the weather like tonight?
It's the same question, even at home.
Mike Burrish, he's got your weather answer on Action News Jax.
Go where all the pros go. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute takes care of athletes at the highest level, like the Jacksonville Jaguars players. They will take care of you, too. Our team covers a lot of teams here in Jacksonville. FSCJ, JU, the Axemen, the Jumbo Shrimp, the Sharks, and, of course, the Jacksonville Jaguars. JOI covers all those teams as well. And then there's youth sports. My kids play baseball and softball. And whenever we have an injury question, the first call is to JOI. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute has been serving Jacksonville for 30 years, and they have over 30 specially trained physicians and assistants at 5 locations in the area. If your injury is specific to an area of the body, JOI has a specialist. They also are leaders in robotic surgery, joint replacement, and sports medicine. JOI Rehab has 13 locations and 90 therapists to get you better. Comprehensive care with caring physicians and staff at JOI. From youth sports to high school, college, and the pros, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI. Go where all the pros go.
When the sun sets and night begins, Action News Jax is working to bring you the big, important stories at 11 you need to know about.
Live in downtown, from Orange Park,
From the south side.
From all over Jacksonville, we keep you informed on local news happening now and get you ready for what's next tomorrow.
Plus, Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish has the area's most accurate forecast to help you plan for the day ahead.
Live at 11, it's worth staying up for CBS 47 Action News Jax.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Coming soon, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
I'm building a major debt with this golf talk early in the show for wrestling and MMA and anime and a lot of conversation coming up, but there is that beautiful look at TPC Sawgrass in the stadium course today as the 17th hole celebrity shootout of the Players' Championship. We welcome you back, Brent and Austen show here on a Monday. Hope you had a fantastic weekend, had a lot of fun at your Super Bowl party. Where'd you watch a game?
I was at the house, chilling.
Pretty quiet.
Pretty quiet. Yep.
Oh, you basically shut
Just
that out,
like
right?
What's
like
that?
You basically were like, Hamby, you can't come. We don't want anybody else coming
No,
over.
I was just kidding, man. Hamby,
you were?
Hamby could have came over if he wanted
know
to.
that. He took that personal.
Hamby, come on, man.
Like
Let's go, man.
He was whining about that, man.
Oh,
I was
really?
Like, don't worry.
I would never.
Austin will get to know you a little bit better. He'll like you soon enough.
Oh,
but
no,
right now,
hey,
he doesn't like you.
As far as first impressions are concerned with Hamby, I'm very impressed so far. I mean, now the Georgia talk is, it's whatever, man. But
Austin,
right.
who caught the winning touchdown?
Oh, man. Must have fell asleep for that one. Who was that?
Hey, by the way, what kind of classes they taking up there in Athens? He didn't even know the game was over. Patrick Mahomes had to tell him. I don't understand it. Like, how do you not know the game is over?
Yeah. Did you see the post press? Like, he's like, I blacked out. I didn't know what happened. I'm like, all right.
Yes.
Yeah.
He tweeted after, of course I knew the game was over.
Yeah, of course he did. He didn't want all that smoke.
Yeah.
Hey, let's bring in Action Sports Jack Stuart Weber. I don't know where he watched the Super Bowl party, but he is at the Players' Championship 17th Hole Celebrity Shootout. Tell us a little bit about what just went down. Somebody went home with $50,000 for their charity, Stuart. Can't hear him, Hamby. All right, bring him back out here to us, Hamby. Take this two-shot out here, and we'll figure that out. Sorry, Weber. Hamby's still playing with that, and we'll get out to you in just a little bit. We'll let him play with that. We thought you had you. We could hear you. I was in the studio just a couple moments ago, but Hamby will try to figure that out. We got a lot on the Rook out of the Georgia Bulldogs fan club.
No, for sure. The head of the fan club, if you will, yes.
Hey, you asked the question, and we'll get back to the Players' Championship stuff in just a minute, but you asked the question a short time ago going into break.
Yeah.
Do the Eagles regret getting rid of Andy Reid? Because Andy Reid is quickly establishing himself now as one of the top, what do you say, like 4 or 5 coaches of all time?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. Easily.
Again, we want to push everybody up, right? But there have been some brilliant coaches. I mean, we had Bill Walsh, and there was a guy named Vince Lombardi, and there was Chuck Noll, and and there was Landry, and there was, by the way, Don Shula, and now it's Bill Belichick. I mean, we want to shove everybody. I just gave you a bunch of names, man. Like, those are big-time names in the history of this sport. But Andy Reid's name belongs somewhere in the mix of that, I guess is what we're saying.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of Super Bowls won now, in terms of, and I guess, like, say what you want, but championship appearances to me means something as well. So, yeah, I would definitely put Andy Reid a top 5 coach.
So what would you say? If you were an Eagles fan, do you regret the fact that he is gone? Because you kind of pushed him out.
You kind of pushed him out. He couldn't win the big one. That was a major reason why. I mean, see, it's a catch-22 because you pushed him out and then you won a Super Bowl, right? So I guess, like, how long does that Super Bowl last for you? As a fan,
it lasted for Doug Peterson for about 2 years.
No, for sure. For sure. But I was saying, from a fan base, like, when do you get tired of that last Super Bowl, and like, when do you it's time to win another one? I think you have to regret letting Andy Reid go, right? With all the success that he's had now in Kansas City, like, how could you not regret that?
Yeah. Hey, Hamby, we can hear a good weed whacker going in the background there at TPC Sawgrass. So does that mean we have Stuart Weber, or we do? We think we do? Let's try it again. What the heck? We're bouncing all over the place. We'll have more of the Andy Reid conversation in a moment. Weber, you got us now.
Yeah, I got you. You got the weed whacker, so you probably hear me, right?
Yeah, I got you now. There we go.
Okay, and you hear me just once, right? Not twice, not echoing.
Yes, this is a live test.
Yep.
Test
Live
1,
testing.
2, 3.
I love that. Okay. Anyhow, so celebrity charity shootout out here at 17, and they upped the stakes a little bit. They had better celebrities than years past. It's
what are you saying there? I used to do that.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Exactly. Yeah.
That is precisely what I'm going with here. I gotta say it was really cool. The 5 guys they had all hit it on the green, all hit it very well. And the winner in the end is the professional golfer. So they bring Jim Furyk. Shocker, right? They bring Jim Furyk into this thing, and after the first round, he wasn't in the lead. They actually threw a curveball at him, so they moved from I don't know what the front of the pin here, kind of down at the bottom of the slope. I'm not sure what day that pin placement is, but they moved it to the Sunday pin placement for Jim and Jim only, which is kind of off nestled behind the little bunker there on the island green here at 17. And even with that happening, Jim still hit it to 2 feet 8 inches on his fourth and final shot. So it was a walk-off winner, much like they had in the Super Bowl yesterday.
Hey, just go down the list, by the way. And here's the deal, $5,000 to each charity. There were 5 charities. Jim Furyk and Friends Foundation charity got $50,000 with the winning shot. But Dee Brown actually was the surprise guy here. Former JU Dolphin, former Celtic, former slam dunk champ. That Dee Brown, he was there for his charity, and I think had like 3.5 feet. Scobie hit one within 6 feet for Guardian School, I believe it is. And then who else? Oh, Daniel Murphy was out there, and I'm missing one.
And Andy Buckley, who was the regional, the above boss, above Steve Carell in The Office, if you remember the show.
Ah, very good.
So we had an actor, a golfer, a football player, a basketball player, and a baseball player, but that's all good sticks. So Andy Buckley, by the way, the actor, he actually played college golf at Stanford. So that was a while ago, but he's got a beautiful swing. So he was very much he was supposed to be here. Let's say that. You randomly see, some guy from The Office. You're like, what's he doing here? Well, he has a good golf background and a beautiful swing as well. And yeah, I mean, you said it, Dee Brown, his first shot of the entire competition, and the way it was formatted, it was kind of 2 rounds, 2 shots in each round. So everybody hit 2 shots, and then they came back around, everybody hit 2 shots again. So 4 shots total to see who could get closest to the pin. And Dee Brown's first shot, 3 feet 5 inches. Just absolutely gorgeous. We'll, of course, show you that a little bit later on tonight on Action Sports Jacks. But for now, you'll just have to trust me, and you'll see it later.
All right, one last thing. Are you going to be at TPC Sawgrass every Monday during the Brent and Austen show?
If it comes with golf, sure. Yeah, I mean, better news, by the way, nobody tore their pants today. So you know what, we took care of business out here, and yeah, if they want to have me back out here next Monday, maybe not as early right after a Super Bowl that went late the night before, that'd be fine. But I'd be happy to come back out here on Mondays.
Stuart Weber's going to be everywhere this week. He'll be in Daytona on Wednesday for Daytona 500 week, of course. So, all right, man, thanks. Good stuff out there. It looks beautiful, beautiful morning out there at TPC Sawgrass. That is Stuart Weber. More with him and the Action Sports Jacks team tonight on TV, CBS 47 and Fox 30 from the Celebrity Shootout. We'll show you some of the shots. I actually think we have a Scobie shot that we'll show you a little bit later here in the show that they sent us in. As well. Brent Martineau, Austen Lane. Nice job by Jason Hamby there. I like it, man. I like that. You were able to find that in the save. That was good stuff. I appreciate that. I don't know if everybody else does.
No, Hamby came out in the second half, man, did his thing. You had Brent Martineau on the sidelines getting in your face a little bit, trying to push you around. He didn't budge, though, man. The Andy Reid keeping it calm philosophy. You got to love it from Hamby.
All right, so let's bring it back. I know we're bouncing back and forth, but Andy Reid, so where do you finish on this? Like, would you – they got a Super Bowl. Did they make the right
letting him go?
Yeah. Now I'll flip this around. Did Andy Reid need to get out of Philadelphia to be great?
No, I mean, I think if you look at the resume, obviously the last year when he got canned, he was 4-12, right? And that didn't achieve expectations. But I think once again, it's despite what we see from Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes and everything, it is hard to get to the Super Bowl, okay? It is. It's not easy.
No.
Year in and year out. Injuries happen. All these things happen. Salary cap, which we think is real, but we'll find out with Josh Allen and everything coming down the line pretty soon. But with everything at stake, it's hard to get to the Super Bowl. But the fact that, I mean, you look at his career here, Brent, with the Eagles, 11-5, 11-5, 12-4, 12-4, 13-3, 10-6, 11-5. Like, a lot of coaches will never be able to do that.
No, they won't.
So if I'm being real here, yeah, I think the Eagles, they're happy that they won a Super Bowl, right? But that can only last for so long. I think if Andy Reid would have stayed, depending on the quarterback that they get, obviously because quarterback is such a big thing, but Andy Reid can develop quarterbacks. I feel like they eventually would have won a couple more than just one.
Well, and they got an Andy Reid disciple to help them win a Super Bowl.
Sure.
Right? Mm-hmm. I mean, so they did that. Jack's Flyer says, as an Eagles fan, we definitely regret moving on so quickly. And I think the longevity of it, you just don't know what happens. I believe everything is situation and circumstance. And I think maybe Andy Reid needed to get out of Philly for his style, right? I mean, he's a laid-back dude. Philly ain't a laid-back town. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kansas City, probably a little bit more laid-back. And I think it might be a fit. And maybe it's a style fit. Maybe it's a comfortable thing. Maybe it just lets you do your thing and build it up. And keep in mind, Andy Reid walked into a very nice situation in Kansas City. That was a team that, along with the Jaguars, won like 2 games that year. They got the number 1 pick. They had 6 Pro Bowlers on that 2-win team that he inherited.
Sure.
So he walked into a really – and Kansas City, to their credit, I think Andy Reid got fired, and Andy Reid was hired in Kansas City like 6 hours later.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of – look, Mike Vrabel, we think he's a good coach. Nobody hired him probably because he got fired in some respects.
Yeah.
But Kansas City said, I don't care. That guy's awesome. We're going to get him. They didn't even give anybody else a chance at him, really. I believe it was a real quick turnaround when he got fired from Philly.
No, as it should have been, though, because once again, Vrabel's a great coach. I think he can definitely build the culture. But we're talking about Andy Reid, who can develop a quarterback, who's calling the plays and everything. To me, Andy Reid being on the market was a no-brainer to try to scoop him up as fast as possible.
I sat down with Doug Peterson this year, and I think I said, asked him about, if you're in a room on the whiteboard, where's the most fun, where's the best play calls come from, and I was thinking maybe some guy at the grocery store wrote him up, slipped him a thing, said, here you go, or he looked on Twitter, or he's watching a high school game. But, as he thought about it a little bit, he's like, Andy Reid's office. I mean, that is where it happens. That's where the magic happens. He is designing stuff. He's got stuff on the board. I don't think people won't call him a genius. I don't think they do, like they did for Belichick, right? Or I think we even have a little bit of this with Bill Walsh from an offensive perspective back in the 80s with the Niners. He doesn't get that moniker as a genius, but I really think he's a mad scientist in the lab on offense. And it looked like he pulled some rabbits out and held those plays for the right time yesterday when they weren't moving the football even right after the muffed fumble on the punt return. Boom, perfect play. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the last play to get the touchdown.
See, the genius that is Andy Reid, it's not only the fact that he is a mad scientist, because he obviously is. I mean, he'll go back to the 1950s, watch some play and be like, all right, I'm going to implement this in my offense. I forgot the play where they would run around a circle and then they would stop.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot where the story where that one came from. But nobody else is doing things like that. But guess what? That makes the game fun, right? So now players are having fun. They're smiling. But what I think Andy Reid does better than any coach in the NFL is that he understands the locker room as well, right? Very rarely can you be so good with the X's and O's, but also kind of be a people person, right? Especially from the offensive side of the ball, where it's a lot of analytics, right? It's a lot of, not necessarily a lot of intensity. And Andy Reid necessarily doesn't have a lot of intensity, but he understands the dynamics of a locker room. I mean, one of my favorite things ever about playing for Andy Reid is that during training camp, every Friday, we had fast food Fridays. Why? And what was fast food Fridays, you may ask? I'm not sure if they still do it because, nutrition and everything, but we had McDonald's catered in, KFC catered in. And it was just kind of a way to, in training camp or during the preseason, just to kind of unwind a little bit. Just to be like, hey, we're having chicken fingers. You're like, that's ridiculous. Other teams are having the ahi tuna with Shad Khan and the filet mignons, and here Andy Reid's bringing his fast food pride to the table every Friday. And it's little things like that I think go a long way in trying to build a culture, because sometimes you just got to be a little more laid back and easy, man. Football is a very hard game. It's a very stressful game. And the more that you can kind of lighten the mood and just, kind of be a little more laid back, players will gravitate that and they will appreciate that as well. Because guess what? They have the intense players on their team. Look at Chris Jones going to the sidelines. You saw in the Super Bowl. I mean, they have the horses there to come and say, hey, this is what Andy Reid wants us to do. Let's go do this.
They've also developed young talent like those corners. Those corners are really good football players. And a little bit later on, I want to ask you about the DNA. What makes you win? I mean, what makes teams just automatically go back, it feels like, no matter the road it takes, no matter if it looks like they're not that good or as good or whatever, they find a way back. The Patriots did it. There's other teams in other sports that have done it. The Chiefs are now doing it. And I think there's going to be a part of it for me that lends to what you just said, because you can be laid back and loosey-goosey when you're playing with house money, man. And they're playing with house money. There's no pressure on Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes to win anymore. I mean, they've already done. Now, there might be pressure down the road to go eclipse other people, but come on, is that really pressure? Their resume says it all. If they never win another football game, their resume says it all.
But how much pressure is it now to win back to the first time in NFL history?
There is no pressure.
That's pressure.
That's not pressure. That's house money is my point.
Okay.
If it's never been done. I mean, how much pressure is there to do something that's never been done?
Yeah, so you're trying to do something that's never been done before.
I get it. There's an urgency maybe to do it. There's an opportunity to do it. But is anybody saying, oh, they got the wrong guy, or Patrick Mahomes, he sucks, if they don't do it?
Not at all. But I think the fact that Travis Kelce alluded to right after they won the Super Bowl saying, we want to go for 3, I think that shows that it means a lot to that team, hence adding some pressure.
Yeah, I think that's internal pressure. I don't think that's noise that they'll feel kind of pressure, in my opinion. But I just think it goes hand in. I think it kind of slides into that DNA and how these teams get on a roll, because everybody else is really – there was a lot of pressure on San Fran to win the first one. I don't think there was as much pressure on Kansas City to win the third one, especially as an underdog, which means you could play a little bit more loose, and you've already been there many a times. I'll give one other thought before we take a break. And I don't want to get too deep into this because this is personal stuff with those guys, and I'm pretty impressed with the noise they've had to deal with in their own personal lives during this run. Andy Reid and his son's incident, and obviously Patrick Mahomes, from his brother to sometimes his wife to most recently this week, his dad.
Yeah.
And they're able to block. Those are real life, real world distractions on a very public level. And they were still able to handle that kind of adversity and make it to the top of the mountain again. Like, to me, that's very impressive, those two figureheads doing that.
No, I mean, there's a lot to comment on that. You know, I mean, if you go back to Andy Reid, you know, and I think this is back in Philly when he lost his son, right? That was during training camp.
Yeah.
And then keep in mind, in 2012 was when Javon Belcher committed suicide.
That's right.
And then they brought Andy Reid in right after that.
That's right.
And I was there the next year when that happened.
Okay.
And, like, that was a really weird thing to come into.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, for me, okay, whatever. Like, yeah, I'm just a player. But, like, from Andy Reid, I can't imagine, right? Because, like, players, that building was hurt.
I would imagine.
And
that's stunning.
rightfully so.
Right.
Rightfully so. Right? So, yeah, I mean, in terms of the right guy for the job to try to build the team really at its lowest, I think, from that Belcher incident, and obviously some other things that happened this year now too. But everything that went down, it seemed like Andy Reid, for whatever reason, still got the best out of his players, you know? And yeah, nothing's going to compare to that Belcher incident. And I think that team, once again, I saw a little bit of it, but I was out before the season started. But that team really rallied behind, you know, what happened. They had each other's back. I think Reid, you know, lifted them up and everything. And then, yeah, having to go through that thing with his son, getting the DUI and then killing somebody, correct? Or hurting. I'm sorry, I don't misspeak.
Severely
hurting somebody.
Yes. A kid.
And, yeah, a kid. And then, you know, everything that else transpired. There's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of outside noise for the Kansas City Chiefs for a couple years now, let's just say. And once again, to have a guy who's known for wearing, you know, these crazy Tommy Bahama shirts and preaches just, hey, fast food Fridays or let's go get a burger. I think it echoes a lot in terms of, you know, when you talk about a locker room in the NFL where it's always intense and it's always just everyone's on edge all the time, when you can bring a little more lightheartedness and a little more of a calm demeanor, that can pay dividends.
Yeah.
And no one represents that more than Andy Reid.
Some levity and some real life situations in that Kansas City locker room. And I'm sure there are many others that we don't even know about, by the way. Those are just very public ones. Hey, let's take a break. Brent and Austen Show. When we come back, what do you think about halftime? Usher's performance and Friends, and maybe a commercial or two as well. What did you think about all of that? What do we got here? We got Scobie.
That's Josh Scobie right there.
Hey, we want to go play-by-play here. Go ahead,
Is he
Austin.
rocking a three-quarter zip? Well, he's not rocking a three-quarter zip, so already off to a horrible start. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't know. A little tight in that neck area, though.
Oh,
doesn't like it.
Backed off
Doesn't like it.
He backed off it.
Doesn't like it.
Line it up again.
Come on, Josh. Trying to go to break here.
I mean,
what are we doing here?
Scobie, like, we're going to hit. Well, we really don't have to hit.
No, we're not hitting anything. I'm just trying to build some more. Okay.
Where's all the crowd? We need more crowd there to make them nervous.
Well, Brent, it's a Monday. You know, people got to work. People a little hungover from the Super Bowl.
That's a simulator swing right there by Scobie.
I like that follow through, though. I think he
likes
likes it. Does he, though?
Let's see the
kind
reaction.
Kind of emotionless.
Oh, well done.
Not bad.
That was inside 6 feet, apparently, for Scobie.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's pumped up. Let's see him here. He's running.
Where's he going? Oh, he's just getting his tea.
He had the exact same reaction when he bought his Aston Martin when he got his new contract. He came to the locker room. He was just like, guys, what do you want me to do? I spent a lot of money. Aston Martin it is.
We'll be back. Brent and Austen Show. I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we are a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 1.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at nimnichtbuickgmc.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
There's never a dull day in Duval. At Action News Jax, we know Jacksonville is so much more than crime stories. That's why we're dedicated to covering every local neighborhood. Real stories told by real people, making a positive impact. Plus, with our fleet of drones, the First Alert Storm Tracker, and our passionate team of reporters,
doing a story about the bad gas that was found here.
You know if it's happening now and in Jacksonville, it's on. Action News Jax, local coverage you can count on.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
Thank you for making Action News Jax the best in Jax and Folio's Best of Jax 2023. Best TV station, Best TV newscast, Best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted Best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted Best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted Best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, Best news website and Best local blog, The Burrish Blog. Thank you for making Action News Jax local coverage you can count on.
It can be daunting to fix or replace your AC unit. We've done it a couple of times, but it's a better experience because of Bold City Heating and Air. We visited boldcityac.com. They did the rest. There are not a lot of Jacksonville-grown and family-owned air conditioning businesses anymore. Bold City Heating and Air is just that, and it feels like it. They will help you navigate the process with first-class service, and they have no payments, no interest for 12 months right now on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Make sure you're safe and comfortable at home, and let Bold City Heating and Air help. boldcityac.com.
I'm Action News Jax First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. Well, the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team, helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank, non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579. Hey, welcome back to the Brent and Austin Show, the day after the 2024 season concludes, and that means the offseason begins. And I'm looking at JP Shadrick from the Jaguars. I'm not looking at him. I'm looking at his tweet, and he brings up some significant dates. Franchise or transition tag window opens February 20th through March 5th. The Combine coming up, of course, will be there for a day or two when the Jags talk. New league year and free agency starts March 13th. That is the week of the Players' Championship, by the way. So there's a lot going on here in Jacksonville the next month as the offseason really kicks off.
We move.
We move.
We move, right?
Yes.
That's what we're doing.
What does we move
moving?
even mean?
That was pathetic.
Okay. Ooh, Hamby, come in. No.
Top roper.
Hamby over the top rope. So I don't.
What does it mean?
Okay, I'm about to break it down for you. Somebody posted this because, I guess somebody felt this certain type of way. We move is a slang phrase that means to carry on or persevere regardless of the circumstances. It can be used to express determination in the face of challenges or as an affirmative response to a question or statement to indicate an agreement. The phrase became popular in 2020 and is similar to the idea of pushing forward despite obstacles. Hey, was I just passed out for 2020 or what? Because I don't remember we move at all.
Is that like bet?
Well, careful now, Brent. Oh, yeah, it is like bet.
Well, it is, though. The last part you just read is kind of like bet. It's like affirmative,
Okay,
right?
cool. So the Jaguars just put bet, and that would have been it? It probably would have been better, huh?
Probably would have been better.
Would have been a little better. Because we move
The we move
I've never
part
heard it.
wasn't the problem.
Yeah. And listen.
This front and center picture of Luke Fortner
Oh, wow. Yeah.
was the issue.
Well, it was Trevor Lawrence and Luke, all right? They're coming out of it.
Okay. I saw Fortner first.
Sure. Hey.
And hey, we go into this
Twitter
offseason.
saw Fortner first. I get it.
Twitter saw. Come on, guys. I mean,
dang, tough crowd.
Well,
I know it's.
I mean, coming off the Super Bowl, it's been a miserable end to the season.
Yeah.
And really, like I said before, not many people agree with me. I feel bad for the kid. He's a young player, and he's getting a lot of the angst. But the bottom line is, he's getting a lot of the angst.
Yeah.
Don't throw him out. We've had other players like this before. Luke Jokel was like that. You don't throw him out front and center to get hammered again.
No, it wasn't a good look at all. Is that the slogan for this year? Or is it just like a one-off?
I don't know because
Because, hey, I'm just saying, if I got to see Trevor Lawrence in a commercial, I'm Trevor Lawrence. We move. Ugh, I'm not sure how I feel about that, Brent.
Here's the thing. Jaguars UK or something, right? They have like a Jaguars UK one. So
Let's go JJ's.
They put the same thing out this morning, and they said it's time.
Okay.
It's time. So, like, we move and it's time. But they did the same photo.
Let me go ahead and peel the curtain back a little bit right now. No one's in that locker room working out right now. All right? No one's in the weight room. Everyone's going on vacation. People are going to go out to the Bahamas and Mexico. Everyone's going on vacation. There's going to be some drinking. It's going to be okay. They're going to come back in maybe a month's time, and then they'll start moving. But right now, there's not a player in that locker room that's going to be working out saying, let's go. It's go time.
The picture, by the way, like the We Are Duval would have been just fine. Just do We Are Duval, get Fortner out of the shot. We hit a home run on Super Bowl Sunday to start the offseason.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, Brent, in football, there is no off-season. There's in-season, and then there's out-of-season.
Ah, man. Listen, we live and learn. We live and learn a little bit.
Don't we all?
But I don't know. I was like, because I don't usually comment on that kind of stuff. I get it. Listen, we all make mistakes in our business. We're probably a young pup over there throwing something out on Super Bowl Sunday, whatever.
Yeah.
So I get how it works, but I was just like, no. Like I tweeted last night, I was like, I'm not even looking at these comments.
I'm just
I can only
disappointed.
imagine.
I'm disappointed in myself because I've never heard we move before,
Yeah, that's
honestly.
I know. You're supposed to bring the cool factor here.
I try, man.
Yeah,
and even I'm like, bewildered right now. I don't know what's going on.
Speaking of the cool factor, Usher?
Yeah.
Did it do it
Brent.
for you?
Oh, did it do it for me? All right. Yeah.
Really?
Top 5 of all time.
Really?
Are you that surprised?
Yes.
Okay, before I give my TED talk of why the Usher performance was up there with some of the greats, I want to hear what you thought about it because apparently we're not on the same page right now, and this is upsetting.
No, but this is one of the hardest reads I ever have, right? Well,
sure.
For a couple of reasons.
Yeah.
One,
cool stuff.
Don't give a damn.
Well, it's entertainment, though. Okay, whatever. Okay, fine. Go on, sorry.
You put Shakira and Jennifer Lopez every year if you want, for me.
Okay. Well, hey, no one was complaining about that either.
So,
yeah.
But yeah, I really just don't, like, Usher's fine. Like, I don't know a lot of his music. Know some of it. So some of it was stuff that my ears have heard.
Okay.
So I always kind of test whether this is going to come out like people are going to like it or not on social media. And a lot of times we're at the game.
Yeah.
And so I've seen the performances live, and I'm like, hey, that was pretty good. Like, it felt pretty good live. And then I go on Twitter, it's like, that was a disaster. That sucked.
First of all, following the wrong people though, right?
Probably.
Kind of maybe following some of the olds, right, as we call them, right?
I got a mix.
Some of the olds we're a little fed up with. You didn't get a mixed anything. you got the 70 to 80-year-old range who wanted Chris Stapleton or Jelly Roll out there. Guess what? Chris Stapleton ain't gonna dance for 25 minutes, sing live, and also roller skate for about 5 minutes and do a backflip.
But I'm giving you this is from past Super Bowls.
Oh,
like,
okay.
it doesn't, I'm not talking about this specific
Okay, I'm sorry.
one. I'm just saying sometimes I'm like, hey, that's going to be, people are going to like this.
Yeah.
Great show, all this stuff. No. So as I'm watching this, I'm like, are people going to like it?
Mm-hmm.
Right? But then you start seeing the other folks, Alicia Keys to Ludacris. I'm like, okay, now there's going to be a segment that really likes this.
Yeah.
This age group is going to really like it. Now, I don't know if the younger folks will like it or the older folks, but there's going to be a sweet spot in here that loves the reminiscing here of the names that we know.
And that was me.
That was where you
That was
I read that right.
We're going back to middle school prom. We're going to high school homecoming dances. I'm going to the roller skating rink. Peace up, A-Town down. Yeah, Brent, like this was made for me, I think. Like I think Usher made it solely just for my stuff. I mean, granted, it's going to sound kind of sad. The most text messaging that I had like through my friends groups through the whole Super Bowl was about that.
Halftime.
Forget Travis Kelce and the comeback and all that stuff. Nah,
That's
man,
what you usually get.
It was Usher though. No, for real. Like, I get what people want to say. It started a little slow, right? And it was just him dancing with some like circus dancers and everything. It was like Circus Soleil, which by the way, you're in Vegas, so duh, figure it out, everybody. Figure it out, America. But when you talk about a guy who literally was singing live, and like that wasn't even up for debate. Dude was singing live, and
which doesn't always happen.
Danced for a good, first like 10 minutes. Took a little bit of a break with Alicia Keys, got a little cuddling in with her. By the way, if I'm Alicia Keys' husband, Swiss Beats, who is pretty known in the music industry, I got an issue.
Yeah, maybe.
I got a little bit of issue.
I mean, as I didn't know who'd you just say? Swiss Beats?
Swiss Beats,
yes. That's the first time I've ever said that in my life.
There you go.
And I didn't know like the relationship here. I'm like, are they together? Did I miss something? Am I not looking at the TMZs of the world?
Well, first of all, the song's called My Boo, so like you got to sell it, and I get that, Brent. My boo, right? I'm sure you use that all the time.
All the
to your
time
wife.
with stuff. Yeah.
There you go. I saw the text messages. No, but when we talk about Alicia Keys, like, it was a good moment, but the whole arm around the waist thing, I had a problem. I mean, it looked good on TV. But I'm thinking of
rumors are flying.
I'm thinking of relationships. Okay, but set aside from that, so then we moved past that. That was a nice. Had to catch his breath, and by the way, he was still dancing too. She's like, serenading the crowd, and that fool's like pop locking and breakdancing. So I'm like, dude, relax. So then we get the roller skates, and that's where it went above and beyond for me.
You like the roller skates?
How did you not like the roller skates?
I mean, it's fine.
You ever been roller skating?
I have.
How many sports have I played? And pretty well. Okay,
yeah, and I good at roller derby.
And I went to Top Golf and did my thing too, and I don't even golf, but it wasn't bad. I can't roller skate, man. It's hard. No, I can roller blade, but I can't roller skate. Roller skating's hard. Usher roller skated for like a good 5 minutes, did a backflip at 360. Dude was crushing it. Oh, by the way, he's still singing live.
Yeah.
Enough said.
He was
Dude
good.
crushed it.
He was sweating.
I loved it.
It's funny you said that about high school. I actually said in the sports I was watching that, I was like, I think it was the Alicia Keys moment.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like I'm in high school right now.
Yeah.
Like it was like it was a throwback to that crowd, like that 90s time frame, right?
Yeah.
And they hit a bunch of different, I think, things for people's ears.
Yeah.
How big is Usher right now?
So that's, and I'll be honest here, when they announced Usher this was a couple months ago, I was like, really? Like I didn't think, because you got to follow, Rihanna, who was pregnant, doing her thing, killing it.
True.
And I was like, I was skeptical with Usher. But then, dude, in terms of pop music or just performing, that was a great performance. And that's what it's supposed to be all about, right? Like, to me, Prince is the ultimate standard, right? Because Prince did it in the rain. Purple Rain, obviously, was like probably the best performance of all time. So, like, Prince, to me, is the gold standard of Super Bowl performances because, like, that's just music, man. Like, you don't have to dance. You don't got to pop lock. You can just play your stuff, and people are going to respect you. Usher, it's more about the experience, right? And I felt like I went through experience with Usher.
Yeah, putting on a show, and it had a little bit of both. So probably pretty good stuff. Oh, so you think well received? Like, is this getting rave reviews, good reviews?
Well, it depends who you're talking to, right? I think if you're talking to the olds, olds got an issue with it.
Well, the olds don't like anything other than Reba McEntire and. I mean, to your point, like, how do you think the olds did when?
I forgot Reba McEntire made an appearance.
Yeah, Reba sounds good.
That Reba's doing her thing,
She
man.
did a good
She's
job.
still doing it. Yeah.
But they probably like that part.
I mean,
I don't think halftime performance is for the olds to begin with.
True, exactly.
That's not who they're after.
It's not made for them,
right?
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
I mean, how do you think the olds did when Post Malone showed up?
Oh, the olds had an issue with that. Because is he country music? What is he? With all these tattoos? The olds were in their feelings with that. But then I think Reba kind of bounced out a little bit. They go, oh, thank God Reba's here. You know what I'm saying? Like the olds saw Post Malone, and it's like, who is this? What is this?
I'm not watching the Super Bowl.
No, what is this? Turn this off. You know. And then all of a sudden, okay, Reba's back. Okay, everybody, calm down. Here's Reba. All right, we're good.
Let me ask you guys this: what's the first halftime show you guys remember?
That's a good question. Like that sticks out, right?
Yeah, because to be honest with you, like I don't remember. Like I don't have like
I have one
memory of Prince.
Yeah,
I just don't remember that stuff. I remember the national anthems more, obviously, Whitney Houston and comes to mind. That's probably the first one that comes to everybody's mind. That will put you back there. But you got to remember this too, Hamby. You're 23 years old or something. Like the halftime show wasn't what it was.
Yeah.
I mean, what it is now. Before, like, I mean, people didn't talk about it nonstop. The Super Bowl grew into commercials and entertainment along with the game. Now, it's been like that for now 20, 25 years or something, but it wasn't always like that. It was just a game that usually ended up in a blowout.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? And you still had a party and, okay, that's it.
Oh, Hamby, I want to take you back. I think it was my sophomore year of high school.
Oh, take us back. I feel like we need some music here.
Sophomore year of high school. Just a young man coming into his own, a young gentleman, if you will. Janet Jackson had a performance, right? And with Justin Timberlake.
That would be the one.
That one sticks out to me big time. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's some before that, but to me, the halftime show, it'll start and end with Janet Jackson.
I like
for various reasons.
This is your reminiscing music.
This is like what you find like the NFL films, like the frozen tundra of NFL. You know, the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
Man. I mean, you can't test all the things out.
Austen Lane is sophomore year in the living room watching Janet Jackson get exposed. And everything changed from there.
No surprise that comes back. Jelly Roll, by the way, next year has to be part of the festivities, right?
Okay.
We're going to go with a consecutive streak of face tattoos?
Okay, but then if you bring in Jelly... Okay, here's the question. Because, Brent, you know this. How do the olds feel about Jelly Roll?
I think...
Anybody with face tats is an immediate veto.
Yeah,
but the guy's got a story, though.
Yeah, but
redemption
Jelly...
story.
And by the way, Post Malone has stories, too. But I think people now know Jelly Roll's story more. Like, I think it's more widespread. It feels like it is. And... it actually would be one if it were like watching Super Bowl Sunday. They'd probably do a story on it, whoever, if NBC's got the game or Fox got the game, whatever, probably do a story on it because it's really a pretty amazing story about one of the performances. So I think he could pass there.
Okay.
Plus the other thing, the O's probably, I mean, he's a crossover guy now, so I think they probably know some of the music and the songs and the depths of it.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of people know Post Malone music.
Okay, so then
from an old standpoint.
So then you bring in Jelly Roll to start things off, and then you bring in Clay Aiken to try to, get the olds back. Oh, is that Clay Aiken? Oh, wholesome. This Clay Aiken. What do you mean no Clay Aiken?
No.
What, are you hating on Clay Aiken?
Yeah,
What's wrong with Clay Aiken?
I mean, that's where your mind went for the olds, like Clay Aiken.
Yeah, I feel like the olds love Clay Aiken. I think, hey, by the way.
How about Scotty McCreery?
No, Clay Aiken's making an appearance. Hey, rest in peace to my grandma. My grandma, I think, loved Clay Aiken. So
Clay Aiken.
What's wrong with Clay Aiken, man?
I just can't believe you pulled
wholesome,
Clay Aiken.
Religious? Like, okay, man. I'm trying to balance it out. Hey, have you seen Jelly Roll, what he looks like?
I do,
okay,
yeah.
So the olds might have a problem. So you got to go on the way other side, which is Clay Aiken.
You're bordering on Alan Jackson territory there.
No, Alan Jackson's for everybody. I'm Team Alan Jackson.
Yeah, Alan Jackson would be all right if he sang the anthem like Reba did.
Went down yet in a Chattahoochee. Gets hotter than a hoochie coochie. Is that what it is? Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, since we're on this entertainment topic and just rolled right through our 10 o'clock hour, that's what we do around here. This is beautiful. I love not being on the radio.
I know,
Hit
right?
that top of the hour stuff. We just do whatever the hell we want.
Do whatever we want to do.
We move.
Pirate radio. I think they call that Ren, huh?
We move.
Yeah.
We're debating on what to put on this green turf here.
We move.
We move. Might be the thing.
Here you guys go.
Oh, come on. Get them on. Come on. Leave them alone. Man. They're getting roasted enough, you guys.
I love you, Jags. I love them.
We move.
The commercials.
Yeah.
Dunkin' Donuts won the day, right? That didn't do it for you?
Whoa, man.
Oh,
Get a chance to
trying to read you here.
No, Dunkin' Donuts was great. I loved it. Ben Affleck making an appearance was cool. I liked was it a Raptor? What was I didn't even know what the product was. It was probably a bad commercial then. But the one with the mullets. Where like Stone Cold Steve Austin got a mullet. Everyone was getting mullets.
I didn't see that.
I think it was like a Raptor or like some kind of like all-terrain vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah,
How about Leno
Kawasaki?
Messi?
Maybe. How much is that guy making?
You know, I was
Michelob
actually
Ultra?
asking, how much do you think these guys do make for appearances? Like Marino was in that spot.
Yeah.
Ted Lasso.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. You got it.
We just call him Ted Lasso. and obviously Messi, which I thought was a pretty good spot. It was kind of fun. But I wonder how much they do get paid.
So that
then you got Brady, obviously, Affleck, Damon.
That one really made me think about. So that commercial right there with Messi made me think, how much are these guys making? Because like Messi, I feel like, I mean, the guy's got all the money in the world already, obviously.
True.
And like, I get maybe in the States. I mean, in the States, he should be a superstar as well, playing for Miami now. But like in the world, dude, he's like one of the biggest people in the world. So like, in order to land him in your Michelob Ultra, I mean, I'm not sure how much money Michelob Ultra is bringing to the table, but I guess enough. So yeah, I can only imagine how much that guy made.
That's the use of stars is off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, again, Nick, you have something like Mick Ultra. They're doing 3 spots. Now I don't know what Marino's game is anymore in terms of dollars, but the bottom line is you're paying a lot of money out.
Yeah.
In that spot, and then even Dunkin' Donuts. Now Dunkin' Donuts has a gazillion dollars. It's fine, but Damon, Affleck, and Tom Brady. That had to cost. And remember, the spots themselves cost like some crazy amount of money. And then on top of that, paying these guys to do it. I am curious. I haven't seen that. I don't know if that's even out there. I haven't really looked hard. But to see how much these guys actually make for their appearance in these spots. The thing about the Dunkin' Donuts one, I'm obviously a New England guy. It just made so much sense.
I know.
Because Dunkin' Donuts is so New England. Like where I grew up, it's on every corner. And sometimes 2 on each corner, across the street from each other. That's not a lie. Dunkin' Donuts. And so to see those guys with the Boston ties and the New England ties all in it made a lot of sense, was kind of fun. Oh, by the way, I forgot Jennifer Lopez was in that too.
No, for sure. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, she's still around, isn't she? Probably should have opened the show with. Had to pay her too. Probably should have opened the show with this, honestly. But did you see our girl Queen Bee? Beyonce?
I saw her in the audience.
There was a commercial too.
Oh, I didn't see the commercial.
Okay, well, she was breaking the internet because she was. So it's commercial, basically like how can you top yourself? Is the whole is Verizon, right? It's like, what are you gonna do next? And then at the end, she goes, release some new music. And I was like, the whole internet went crazy. So once again, I feel like the focus should be on Beyonce and Dewey, step up or step out. But instead, we're just gonna move instead of
maybe
move.
Maybe that was Dewey.
That was
that was Dewey.
Is that the cryptic message?
That was the rebuttal.
I got you. Now it's time to move.
And now maybe she's doing a show in London. It's time.
Yeah. But no, it's wild how, because obviously she's a global superstar, but you can literally just say new music coming out, and the internet took that. Like, is it gonna drop tonight? Is it gonna drop tomorrow? Like, and the whole internet was talking about it during.
Apparently, it's country.
I'm out.
One of the.
I'm in.
Trying to get the olds involved. Hey, Beyonce, you don't need the olds on your team. You got plenty on your team.
Overnight, Deja, who I work with, was listening, and there's apparently the song called 16 Carriages she really liked. It's
no one's
already
riding
out.
Carriages anymore.
I don't know what to tell you, but that's kind of the vibe.
Ride
that
whatever
she's going
you want
with.
if you're Beyonce.
That's a good point.
Also, according to one website, Leo Messi made $14 million for that 1-minute commercial.
I thought it'd be more, honestly.
Really?
I thought it'd be more.
$14 million. That guy is just printing money.
Yeah. And he's the most humble dude ever, too.
It seems like it.
It makes, yeah.
Seems like it.
Good for him.
Duval TV says Tua throws, hey, Arnold as a football. Like that was that whole Paramount spot. And I think they actually only bought in. It looked like they cut that down Was that like a 60-second spot? Because
Yeah.
the one that I saw making its way around Twitter and everywhere else, that was like a 2-minute spot. If you go back and watch the whole thing is really good.
Yeah, yeah.
And so again, they spend a ton of money. They got a lot of people involved in that one too.
Yeah.
But that was fun. That was a good one.
Shout out to the NFL for making me cry as well, for the NFL like global initiative, where was Osi Umenora?
Yeah.
With the little boy in Africa. Did you see that one?
Okay, I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I was working a little bit.
Okay, well, I'm just saying, unless you want to feel all the feelings, go and check that one out, man,
Okay.
because that was. Whew, that one got to me a little
That was
bit.
a deep one.
Yeah, that's why I watched it alone. That's why I watched it all by myself. Because those emotional commercials, you ever tried crying in front of 20 grown drunkish dudes?
That's probably not a good
Doesn't
idea.
work well. Yeah.
Not a good idea
Yeah,
at all. Jax Himdeville, remember post-NFL season wrap-up, the Jags drafted Leonard Fournette over Patrick Mahomes. I
Thanks
thought
for the
about
reminder.
this. The bigger mistake for the Jags, drafting Fournette, or really signing Bortles and not getting a Mahomes or even a Deshaun Watson, which, by the way, I think they probably were more apt to get a Watson that year. He went higher than Mahomes. Or Taven Bryan instead of Lamar Jackson.
Give me the options one more time, please. It's like the.
So it was like 2000. I'm pretty sure this would have been 2017, where you could have moved on. That was the year they got drafted, right? 17 was Mahomes and Watson. So you could move on from Bortles. You had the number 4 pick. Watson went behind. Mahomes went behind that pick. You picked Fournette.
Yeah.
Or at 28, I think they took Taven Bryan at 28 it was. And obviously everybody passed on Lamar Jackson except for the Ravens.
So you can kind of see the whole Blake Bortles one just because you were still kind of committed to him.
Because that would have been year 4.
Was that year 4 with Watson? Everything?
And you had a new regime, right?
Yeah.
You had Tom coming in and you had Doug coming in.
Yeah, I'm saying hindsight's 2020, obviously, with Watson
for both
now,
of
right?
us.
But yeah, but I think at that time, I probably would have went with the Bortles still over Watson. The second one, though, is the second scenario, what you mentioned, is the one that sticks out to me. Because Taven Bryan was a luxury pick. Let's be honest. He wasn't being brought in right away to make a difference. He was going to get brought in to develop and put him all around, play a 5 technique, which he had no business playing, and then you moved on to the 3. So, like, that was a luxury pick that didn't need to happen. So if you're talking about a luxury pick, well, why not get a guy who, in Lamar Jackson, who, number one, some teams wanted for like a wide receiver / like a slasher kind of guy. So you have something different dynamic on offense if you weren't going to have my quarterback. But also you could get a different look, especially it seemed like that was the years of the Colin Kaepernick, right? Where the dual threat quarterback was kind of making more of a run.
Yeah.
Pun intended. So if that's the case, yeah, Lamar Jackson all day.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't think here's the deal. Lamar Jackson, you talk about hindsight. There are a lot of teams not. You got to put yourself back. Did you think Lamar Jackson was going to be a 2-time MVP in the first 5 or 6 seasons of his career? No, and a lot of people didn't. Now, could you believe in Lamar Jackson? Maybe. I just have to put myself in that spot because I remember seeing him here at Tax Slayer Gator Bowl, and I wasn't that impressed with him. I think he threw a few picks in that game, if I remember. And obviously, he had a fantastic season. He was dynamic, but it felt like you had to do what Baltimore did, take a chance and then kind of revamp everything around him. We thought he was limited at that time. It was way more risky roll of the dice. A guy like Watson was not. Now, Watson, actually skill set wise, this is the interesting thing in Watson's career. Skill set wise, it's like, okay, how good is he coming out of Clemson? But leadership wise, people thought off the charts. And then, of course, all the stuff that ends up transpiring with Watson is pretty interesting. Mahomes, nobody was talking about that year. No. Nobody was talking about Mahomes. And again, I go back to, I was with Jay Gruden last night, and he brought this up in this conversation. It's like the greatest trade of all time by Kansas City to move up and get Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
And he's probably not wrong. But the Jags didn't have to move up. They could have just got him, or they could have got Watson. And again, you got to separate the Watson football from the Watson what transpired.
No, for sure.
Maybe we wouldn't have as many massage parlors around here. I don't know, like whatever.
Couldn't resist, could you, man? Couldn't.
Maybe he doesn't get in trouble.
No.
So, but anyway, like
Pontevedra, you been there? Okay. So relax. Relax.
But the interesting part of both, and I love Blake Bortles, but she did have 3 years at that time of like 14, 15, 16. The other part of it, and again, this is really two decisions. This is why the Tom Coughlin as EVP, along with Dave Caldwell, along with Doug Marrone, made this decision twice to stick with Bortles over both of these options, which is always very interesting. This is not just like a one-person problem. Dave Caldwell, I think, had lost a little bit of power in the organization at that time. So if you're like, well, he's the guy I drafted, I got to keep him. Well, that wasn't the case. I mean, I think Tom could have trumped that and chose not to both times, and they re-signed him. But I think that would have been the time to move on, be like, okay, we've got 3 years. We didn't help him out great. We know that. We've struggled. But we also know where the ceiling is.
Yeah.
I mean, Chicago's looking at this right now with Justin Fields. Now, you didn't have a generational guy potentially coming out of the draft. You didn't have Drake May and Caleb Williams. These guys, Patrick Mahomes and Watson, are, what were they, 7th and maybe 10th overall picks, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
So, but that's your job anyway. That's my point. Like, that's your job. What I always come back to is, like, it's not our job to pick that guy. It's our job to go back and criticize you for not picking that guy. But it's really your job to be able to see that and figure that out and find out what. So I actually give them probably more grief for the first one. And I don't think they would have picked Mahomes in this instance. I think they still would have missed on Mahomes.
Yeah.
I think they would have taken Watson, but you could probably say the same for Houston. Houston took Watson over Mahomes. Everybody should have taken Mahomes. It's pretty apparent.
So then you say then Leonard Fournette shouldn't have been drafted.
Well,
because keep in mind, this is coming from the guy who said time and time again that without Leonard Fournette, the Jaguars don't go to the AFC Championship game.
Well, we're just putting it in this context for the question,
I hear you.
right?
I hear you.
But I will go to my grave, which hopefully is a long way away.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say forever that Leonard Fournette was not a bad pick, because I've been here for 16 years come March 1st, and I've seen 2 playoff berths, and one of them because of Leonard Fournette. So they committed to it. Probably the 1 year out of all the years, I knew their identity of the football team more than any other. They were Saxonville, and they ran the football. That's what they did. And if you, like, I get it long term, and long term is the conversation we're having right now, but I will always say, Leonard Fournette, you do not get where you got, and you do not get 10 minutes away from the Super Bowl without committing to Leonard Fournette there. So for a year, and maybe a little more than that, it was a very good pick. But in the long term, you also knew Leonard Fournette wasn't going to be an 8 to 10 to 12-year guy at the running back position. So it just depends which lens you want to look at it through. I choose to always say, to hedge this conversation with, I'm pretty damn thankful for 2017. That was a lot of fun.
Yes.
And we haven't had a lot of fun around here. So 17 always resonates with me. 17, by the way, is where my kids became Jags fan to Jags fan. Like, they got locked in, became diehards. I think the Jags organization, without 17, would have lost a whole generation of possible Jags fans that grew up from 2005 to 2000 and right now. And so 17 was so critical, in my opinion. I watched it up close with my own kids. I watched elementary schools and others wear Jag stuff to school every day for a month and a half around that. And let's be honest, that team in the history of this organization came the closest to the Super Bowl than any other team, even though the 99 team was a better football team.
And that's kind of what I'm leaning towards, too, of why I take that Lamar Jackson year over the Deshaun Watson year with Leonard Fournette. Just because at that 4th pick, you knew, okay, you're going to draft Leonard Fournette? Now, taking running back that high, is it questionable? Sure, right? History has indicated it is questionable. But you knew what you were getting, though, with Leonard Fournette when he came in here, right? Like, you're going to give him the rock 20-something times a game and let him do his thing. Like, he was going to be featured day one when you drafted him at number 4. With Taven Bryan, I never got the vibe that, they took Taven Bryan? Yeah, let's go ahead and plug him in right away. Like, that was never the case. So if that's never the case and you're coming off of a year that you're pretty successful, obviously, with Taven Bryan's year, then I'm like, well, what can I do to make me a little more dynamic? How can I increase this offense a little more? Because I would say coming off that season, the defense was more of the star than the offense was, top to bottom. So that's where I think Lamar Jackson comes in. And it's like, well, how can we get more dynamic? I think Lamar Jackson can make us more dynamic.
Yeah, listen, I mean, the Jags didn't make a bold move on 2 occasions. They could have moved on from the quarterback, which would have been bold because you had invested a lot in, and then also he had momentum the second time around, and they didn't do it. Hamby, what you have?
Yeah, guys, with all this Lenny talk, I think of all of the festivities last night, the very most This is the most insane thing I've ever seen. The funniest thing of last night is popping up on your screen right now from our man, Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, I'll get at least 3 more Super Bowls before I'm done.
Calling a shot.
Well,
calling a shot.
I don't know, how realistic that is, given that, he has actually really very little control of where he plays.
Whoa.
His NFL career is barely hanging on.
I thought he had a
right
shot
now.
with the Bills. He's on the Bills, right?
Well, he wasn't, and they let him go. In the play. I think the week of the playoff game or that last one.
That was pretty quietly because I didn't remember that.
But you guys are missing this. Leonard's playing chess. You guys are playing checkers. Because what he's basically claiming is he's going into the coaching ranks and going to be on a staff to win 3 Super Bowls.
Okay.
That's what he's thinking.
I'll get at least 3 more Super Bowls before
But imagine second quarter just watching the game. Yeah, I'm going to get 3 more before I'm done.
and have the wherewithal to share that too as well. Like, you know
that
what?
was the only thing he tweeted.
The world's
going
to know this.
That was the only thing he tweeted?
Yes, that is the only thing he tweeted.
That's because he tweeted and then someone stole his phone away from him. 2.1 million views, by the way. He shared it all right.
Yeah, he shared it, man. He got it.
I told you, man. He's playing chess.
I like that.
He's going to go into coaching.
I like that line of thinking for sure.
Then maybe he has a chance at the 3. The Jags get a running backs coach yet? I think there are some rumors about a college guy coming. Maybe Leonard will come back.
Let's go.
Fred's thrown his name in the ring.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah. Well, he tweeted
I can see that. Okay, I got you.
But Leonard Fournette. I just think Leonard Fournette will be a fascinating story in Jacksonville in the landscape of everything, the domino effects. What a great person. I really enjoyed Fournette, by the way, in many respects. And don't think we get 17 without him, quite frankly. I really don't. But he will always be a fascinating point in this conversation. And when in 2035, on this brand new Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network, I put out the documentary of Saxonville, it'll also include the story of Leonard Fournette.
I like that.
We'll be on our way. We still feel like it's got to be 2037 to celebrate the 20-year anniversary. I go with 2035. I need a lot of time to work on this thing.
Okay,
and I
I
need
guess
time
so.
to heal some wounds. So Leonard and Jalen Ramsey and guys like that will talk to us about it.
Oh, well, I mean, you're already unblocked, though, right? Did Jalen unblock you? You're still blocked?
I'm done with that.
Are you
I thought
done
I
with
was
that? Well, you just brought up Jalen Ramsey, so what do you mean you don't?
I was a little disappointed. I thought I'd see him at the Pro Bowl, but I missed, he didn't come over that way.
Jalen didn't come over that way?
Well, you didn't come over to, where the media was.
I got you. I'm sure he probably just saw you and we're good.
I don't think he saw me.
Are you guys good?
I don't think I'm in his head that much.
Are you guys good or not?
I think we're good.
Okay.
I think we're good.
Okay. Are you unblocked?
That was a misconception.
That was a misconception that you were blocked, though.
I was blocked for a while, but
So
I became unblocked.
Yeah.
I think.
That's good. See,
but I haven't checked recently.
Well, we got to check out during the break. I think the fact that, listen, if he went out of his way to go to settings, to go to privacy, to go to block,
I wasn't the only guy he blocked,
and to hit unblock, says a lot about your relationship.
You know how they had those lists? Do they still do lists on Twitter and stuff? They probably had a Jack's media list.
Yeah, sure.
Just blocked everybody.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
We'll get the truth in 2037 on the Saxonville documentary.
Can't wait.
It'll come out. Brent and Austen show just getting going here in week 2 on a Monday halfway through. By the way, we did go viral this weekend.
For a lot of reasons. A lot of comments.
It was unbelievable.
Oh, I've never laughed so hard in my entire life at the comment section.
We will tell you what went down if you missed it, by the way. That part of the story, plus back to the Super Bowl and the Jags. There's some Danielle Hunter talk out there. Should the Jags be interested? What does that look like? I want your thoughts as our defensive coordinator, how that would even look with the Jags pieces that they already have. We'll be right back on the Brent and Austen Show. In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
Investigative journalism. It's the difference between the Action News Jack style of news and everyone else's.
I'm Ben Becker. This scam is targeting residents on the South Side.
We investigate so you're crystal clear how a story impacts you.
I'm Emily Turner. Take a look at the fine print because you're still getting billed.
Because our reporters don't just tell you what happened. We break down how it affects you and your neighborhood, which is why people are putting their trust in us. Action News Jacks at 5 and 6. It's local coverage you can count on.
Stop by the new car sales event happening right now at Greenway Kia at the Avenues. $500 in a job gets you in a Kia. And Michael Montiero and the staff here at Greenway Kia are here to make it happen. Experience great customer service and become a part of their family. And while you're here, check out the Kia Forte GT line, full of comfort, innovation, and has driver assist technology. And how about the affordable new Kia EV9, the fast-charging, all-new electrical SUV with high-performance capability, 3-row seats with 304 miles of maximum driving range. Over 1,000 new Kia models, some starting at $199 a month. And as always, get the 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Come shop at Greenway Kia at the Avenues, located on Phillips Highway. You can shop online at greenwaykiaattheavenues.com. And remember, $500 and a job gets you in a Kia at Greenway Kia at the Avenues.
Before Action News Jacks at 5 breaks today's top stories, know this. We're asking the tough questions for you.
Were you targeting the Tebows?
Our team of reporters are relentless.
Do you have anything to say to your former employees?
Working to find answers.
If we wait in the parking lot, you'll talk to us on camera.
Never stopping.
Have you paid back any money?
So you know what's really going on.
Your own counsel said it was an investigation.
I'm just asking questions. I mean, is it a conflict in your mind?
Action News Jacks at 5. It's local coverage you can count on.
It's a big month of hoops ahead at UNF Arena. The Ospreys are playing well and in prime position for a good seed in the A-Sun tournament come March. And we want to see you at the arena on February 17th. There's not a game that night, but we do have a lot of fun planned with the Blue and Gray Bash, the annual UNF party. We will be there with Action Sports Jacks. Dan Hicken and I play host. You just bring the fun. The event raises money for student-athlete scholarships at UNF. It's in the arena for the first time. Just click on the QR code you see or head to UNFospreys.com for more information. It's an 80s-themed night with a sit-down dinner, drinks, live band, silent auction, and so much more. February 17th, VIPs get in 5:30 until 7 p.m. Then the main event is 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. Celebrate 40 years of athletics at UNF. 80s-themed prom attire. February 17th, the Blue and Gray Bash, bigger than ever before. And don't forget to check out UNFospreys.com for news, schedules, results on all things UNF Ospreys.
Streaming right now on Action News Jacks.
Let's get your morning started.
It's local.
Take a look at this surprising video.
It's breaking. It's weather 24/7.
I gotta keep you guys safe.
It's original.
More trucks, more food.
It's entertaining. Now it's new and free. Everywhere, anytime. Stream Action News Jacks wherever you watch.
Perfect Rack Billiards has a deal for you. 50-cent Wing Fridays during lunch. Get out of work early. Get a head start on the weekend, or just take a lunch break, 11:30 until 3 p.m. on Fridays, every Friday. Perfect Rack Billiards with 50-cent wings for lunch on Fridays. A perfect place to stop in Murray Hill, play some pool, play some darts, maybe some shuffleboard. Now, that's a heck of a lunch break. And get those 50-cent wings on Friday just to make it better. 11:30 to 3 p.m. on Fridays at Perfect Rack Billiards. We got the golden typewriter from the TPC Sawgrass Players Championship Media Day that our guys won, cheated or something. I don't know. They got it, but they got it. So we got it. Not cheating, not trying. Brent Martineau along with Austen Lane and Jason Hamby, the Brent and Austen Show. Hope you had a fantastic weekend. A lot going on. Speaking of the golf world, the Waste Management Phoenix Open, that was pretty wild. We might get to that. If we don't, we'll get to it tomorrow. But I'm not sure if that's a good event or a bad event anymore.
I have some thoughts for
it
sure.
actually had more headlines coming out of that event than Vegas. Like one of the upsets about the Vegas weekend is, were there any like major issues?
Yeah, I didn't really see any.
I mean, I'm sure there was some stuff like in the police blotter, but
sure.
nothing like that.
Well, there's a
stole the
streaker.
headlines.
By the way,
Okay, there's a streaker like
which
at every
no,
game.
I know. The weakest streaker of all time, by the way.
Did,
Dude wasn't even naked. Dude had his pants on.
That's what I think Romo said. Did you hear Romo? It's like,
Yeah.
he's like, well, he's kind of a streaker or something like that. And then he's like,
no.
You could tell. I said this when we were watching sports. You could tell the producer, because sometimes what happens when a producer says something to your ear, you actually say what they say.
Yeah, it makes
You know
sense.
what I mean?
Yep.
Because you're kind of, especially something like that where it's not football, so it kind of throws you off. And I guarantee you, this happened to Romo last night. He's like, whatever he said after, he's like, we're not supposed to be talking about that.
Oh,
he said something like that. I don't think that was his exact quote, but whatever he said that was like, oh, we're not supposed to be talking about that, Jim, or something. But that no doubt the producer had jumped in the ear and was like, we're not supposed to be talking about that, Tony. Like you could just tell that that's what had been said. But that was it, man. No major problems in Vegas.
No, I was getting ready to cash my plus 4,000 bet for a Taylor Swift fan running to hug Travis Kelce.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think it was. I mean, maybe the dude was a big Travis Kelce fan, but I think he was just trying to, get some clout, as the kids
Took
say.
all the way to overtime to get the 28-3 mention. That came through.
Yeah.
My dad texted me immediately.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah. Hey, if you paid that much for a Super Bowl ticket, and I'm sure there are so many people there that, the money is nothing. But if you're going to streak, okay, why not maybe wait till the fourth quarter so you can enjoy the game a little longer? Why are we jumping out of our seat midway through the second when it's 10-3? We haven't seen any game yet, or is that that line of logic not necessarily possible for someone who's streaking on the field?
So, from someone who's never streaked before, but I get the mindset.
Thought about it.
I thought about it many times.
I get the mindset.
Oh, I mean, I'm talking about the Players' Championship my first year in Jacksonville. I was like, it could. I'm thinking about it. Had a couple. Hey, it was free beer in the Jaguars tent. What do you want me to do?
Just imagine.
We move, okay? We move.
Just imagine what Joe Cullen would have said.
Oh man,
when you got back.
Oh yeah, I couldn't imagine that.
You thought he was bad for a tweet.
No, for sure. But Hammy, see, if anything, I feel like the game needed a streaking moment at that time, just because it was such a lull of a game.
It was kind of boring.
Right? It was kind of boring. Couple fumbles here, a lot of miscommunications, a lot of penalties. Yeah, let's insert a streaker and try to boost the morale a little bit. That might have been Roger Goodell's. He might hit the button.
That was fun.
Send the streaker in. This game's boring.
How about the wasn't it the CBS? Is it still Les? No, McManus, I think, is the guy. I should know this. But he predicted, because of all the script talking.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, the NFL has told us this game's going to go to double overtime.
No, I did see this.
It almost did.
He was close. You had never heard the end of that. If that would have happened, probably had to resign. Yeah.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
Beautiful mess, man. Perfect
Beautiful
mess. I call the NFL. Even when it's bad, it gets good.
Yeah.
Which is just incredible.
Yeah.
Brent Martineau Austen Lane. All right, get away from the Super Bowl for a minute. Get the Jags to the Super Bowl somehow, someday. Danielle Hunter would be a nice addition. There was a Jeremy Fowler report that I think said the Chicago Bears and the Jags. Now, the Jags have been linked to Hunter on two different occasions. I think last offseason, and I think also, again, around the trade deadline or something like that. So Hunter was on a one-year deal. He's going to be available. He's going to be 30 years old in late October, which is okay at that position. That doesn't mean you're old. Like, that's one of those positions. I think the Jags had Calais in his 30, 31, 32 years, or 31, 32, 33, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, Brent, the guy just had 16 and a half sacks. So age, I don't care at this point. I mean, if you're producing 16 and a half sacks at that age, yeah, come on. We can definitely use you.
All right, so let's play defensive coordinator for me.
Yes.
We really don't know what Ryan Nielsen's going to technically run, but we know this. Everything's a hybrid. You run whatever the hell you want to run. We can all label it 4-3-3-4. We got obsessed with that a couple years ago. Mike Caldwell comes in, runs the 3-4, but we still know there's hybrid versions of everything. The Jags have some pieces that are very versatile, and number one on that list is Trayvon Walker. And so many people want to kick Trayvon Walker down. They have for the last 2 years. He did start to do that a little bit, like against Carolina, and I think he did it in the last game, maybe a little bit against Tennessee. But definitely against Carolina was where it was noticeable. But I don't know if as many people want to kick him inside anymore after coming off a double-digit sack here on the edge.
No, and especially, we talk about this all the time. How many times do you have to move a player out of position? You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I get, like, he has rush in the middle too. So, like, this
might be the more familiar spot.
That'd be more
actually.
familiar spot. But I think you had success on the outside. Keep him there. My biggest question, listen, if you can add a 16.5, quarterback sack
You
artist,
figure it out.
You figure it out for sure. But let me ask you this. What does it say then to Josh Allen if you offer Hunter a new contract, you pay him, which is not going to be cheap, right? I mean, how much are we talking here?
Oh, man, I don't even. All these guys are making $25
Yeah.
million. I think Josh is going to be $26, $27 million a year.
So just for the sake of this conversation, let's say Hunter maybe makes 24. Is that fair?
That's fine.
Okay.
3-year deal at 30 years old, maybe?
3-year deal, $24 million a year. Nice signing bonus. Yeah. Okay, let's go with that right now. What does that say then? Because then you have to probably franchise tag Josh Allen. And how's that going to make him feel?
Probably not good.
Yeah. What's Trayvon Walker going to feel like? Hey, man, you've been really moving along. 10 sacks is good stuff. Go inside. We like you, but, we got Danielle Hunter coming in, so you're going to have to go inside a little bit and put your hand in the dirt. Hope that's cool with you. Listen, you can never have too many edge rushers, but it's got to come with the right environment and at the right price. And I think that if you pay Danielle Hunter what he's going to be warranted to get, I think you might send a little bit of a bad message then to Josh Allen and say, yeah, Josh, we really love you. We know we drafted you. You love Jackson. You said all the time. Just go ahead and chill out this year. Don't get hurt, obviously. Don't get hurt. That'd be bad for you. Don't get hurt. We're going to put your money someplace else.
Yeah, I don't know what the money thing. So what you're saying is you don't think they would pay both?
I think it's hard to justify. Because you still need what's going to happen with wide receiver position. What's going to happen with Trevor Lawrence. Like, there's still some things you got to talk about.
Yeah, I get it. But like we say about, you can do whatever the hell you want to do.
No, I get it. The salary cap's not real, but players' feelings are real, especially nowadays. And I feel like if you bring in Hunter and you don't shore up a new Josh Allen contract this year, that's going to send a bad message.
Yeah, I wasn't looking at this like they wouldn't sign Josh. But your reasoning makes sense. Like I don't. Can you sign both? Would you sign both? They obviously need something in the middle, and is their best. Let's take the feelings aside, because I think when we get wrapped up in that, we can go back to the conversation we just had about Watson, Mahomes, and Lamar Jackson. We're worried about, well, Blake Bortles did well. Wait, Blake Bortles, how's he feeling? Well, we haven't said it. Well, you know what? What makes us better? Like, this is about winning a Lombardi trophy. So let's just talk about everybody's making as much money as they want and everybody's happy first, and how does it fit? And I think right now the deficiency on the defensive side of the football, and we may think something else is deficient by the time August rolls around, but we think it's a defensive interior. I do. I actually said last night on Action Sports Jax Primetime and in our Super Bowl special over the weekend, that 17th pick, I think, should be a defensive tackle of some kind, somebody on the inside. You have to start getting cheaper players there because you're invested with Hamilton and Roy Robertson Harris. You were just invested with Fadakasi. You need better play, and you probably need a little bit cheaper play, so that's why I think like the draft makes sense. But let's just go with better play because we're taking money out of the equation. Well, I said this all year. Hey, can you imagine if Chris Jones, they had gotten him this offseason, what they would have looked like with Josh and Trayvon in that defense? I really think they were missing that interior side. He wrecks games. They need somebody on that interior.
Without Chris Jones, I don't think that the Chiefs beat the Bills, and they definitely don't win the Super Bowl.
I agree with that.
I forgot who the player. It might have been Debo. Debo was the one that was wide open, where Chris Jones affects the pass. Purdy can get all of it on, and
that's right.
He overthrows Debo. Debo runs to the sidelines or whatever. But
that was the 3rd and 4 also, the last play before they had to kick the field goal in OT. Chris Jones blew that play up.
Correct.
Chris Jones is a game wrecker.
He's
a game wrecker. So I just said, if you had a guy like that on this defense this year, especially before the Jags started giving up a ton of yards in the last 6 weeks, like, wow, this would be dynamic now. He's that good. But Danielle Hunter is like really that good, and might allow Trayvon to be your Chris Jones.
Yeah. I mean, is Trayvon big enough, though, to like every single – you have to add some weight. Because what is he, probably I think
he's 270.
270? Chris Jones is pushing 3 bills. Got to be, right?
I think he's probably in the 290s at the – yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you're talking about that being a game record from the inside, yeah, I see on 3rd down you can definitely do that. But if you're talking about a consistent, starter, as like a 3 technique, whether it's a 3-4 or a 4-3, you got to put some weight on. So now you're asking a player, hey, we like what you did last year, 10 sacks, but go ahead and put on another, 30, 40 pounds and then move inside.
Yeah.
Full time.
Yeah, I don't know if they would do that. And again, you're talking about Calais' position. Calais played that edge spot and that interior spot. And if you really think of the big year in 17, he played it at about 295 pounds, I think. I think at times he was over 300. In his career, I think in Jacksonville, at least, I remember him saying between like 295 and 305, depending on which year it was.
Okay.
Sometimes he'd get a little leaner. But yeah, you're probably right. Probably have to add at least 20 pounds on to play that on a consistent basis. So, yeah, I don't know where it fits. I mean, Hunter gets people excited. Like, the idea of it gets people excited. Is this in place of Josh Allen? Wait, no. Why would you do that? Why would you get a 30-year-old guy in place of Josh Allen who just had 17.5 sacks? I'm riding with a 26-year-old guy that I can have for another 4 or 5 years.
Well, keep in mind, too, I mean, Minnesota still loves Hunter. So there's still a theory they could work the things out.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, they don't want to lose him.
But that got a little muddy last year.
It did. No, it definitely did. But, he still played through and everything, so we'll see. But then it begs the question, okay, if you're going to spend – I'm looking at the contracts right now for edge rushers. You got Myles Garrett making $25 million a year, Montez Sweat making $24.5 a year, Rashawn Gary for the Packers making $24, Khalil Mack, 33 years old, making $23.5 a year. So one would think, like, yeah, he's going to be in that 23, 24 range.
Yeah.
That's what I'd be
Sounds
asking
right.
if I was Danielle Hunter. Do you spend it on that, or if T. Higgins becomes available, do you spend maybe a 21, 22 at the wide receiver position?
Yeah, probably the answer there is I've got a couple of guys that can already do this and get my quarterback more help, and that's a 25-year-old guy that can grow with my quarterback.
Yeah.
Probably where I'd go. But J5 Sports here says, spending big money on edge and free agency would be beyond stupid. Re-sign Josh and focus efforts on interior offensive line, interior defensive line, wide receiver, and CB. Again, I think what you're doing here is potentially fixing that interior defensive line, in at least conceptually. I would imagine you're going to kick Trayvon Walker in, and at times you're going to run Hunter, Trayvon Walker, and Josh Allen out there on that front.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn good.
No, listen, I mean,
and this isn't just a third down thing in the NFL anymore either.
No, it's not. Well, I'm saying if it's third and long, you got Trayvon Walker on the inside, and you got Hunter on the outside with Josh Allen. Like, yeah, obviously that's going to be a game-wrecking defensive line. But I'm saying right now where he sits, I'm trying to look up. So it says he weighs, and this could be wrong, Trayvon Walker is 271 pounds.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then yeah, you probably got to add at least 20, 25 pounds, which, once again, when you add that much weight to somebody, it doesn't always correlate to, to performance.
I don't love that. Is there a possibility they think he plays like a 290-pounder because of his strength and freaky skill set?
Aaron Donald, now we're talking? Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of what ifs.
Yeah.
What I do know is that Trayvon Walker looked pretty at home last year of where he was.
Yeah.
Getting 10-plus sacks.
I like the development of Trayvon Walker. But here's the thing. Here's what I'm not going to fall into anymore. And I've done this, and you make the mistake of it, and it goes back to a bunch of different conversations over the years. Just because you think you're good in a spot doesn't mean you're good enough in a spot. The Jags have the best tandem in the National Football League when it comes to sack numbers. But they can get better on that defensive front, and we know it. They can be more dynamic. So I'm just not ready to say, check the box, move on to the other spot. I think that's a dangerous thing. So I would assume they'd have some kind of plan with Hunter if that they really are interested in him. Do they have other holes to fill? Absolutely, they do. They do, and they will, and they should. Where do they go young? Where do they spend money? Those are all things. They've got to figure it out. But I also just don't think you dismiss it because you have two guys that are coming off really good years based on feelings and money and everything else. Never a bad thing to have like something the best of anybody else in the league. If they were to include a guy like Hunter, is there a better trio of pass rushers in the National Football League? The answer is no. Not even serious. And guess what wrecked that game last night?
Yeah.
For the most part. Both defensive fronts wrecked that game for what the offensive guys wanted to do, even though we think offense when we think about the Chiefs and the 49ers.
All I'm saying is, if you take a look at this edge rushing class, Josh Allen, who obviously is not going anywhere, you're going to franchise tag him at the very least, but he's the most highly coveted, free agent, quote unquote, edge rusher in 2024. Over Hunter, I would say, over Brian Burns, I would say.
Yeah.
So if you have the most coveted, and I say it in quotes because he's not going to be a free agent, but the most coveted free agent edge rusher in Josh Allen, and you decide to say, hey, you know what, Josh, we're going to franchise tag you. We love you, but let's go ahead and pay Hunter $23, maybe $24 million, and we'll figure you out later. If I'm Josh Allen, and once again, I'm not Josh Allen, but if I was Josh Allen, that would be the ultimate sign of disrespect to me. And with an organization that you're trying to maintain your guys, that you're trying to build a foundation and you're trying to reestablish the culture, the last thing you want to do is piss Josh Allen off.
Yeah, I get it. One other thing along these lines I want to ask you guys about. The Chiefs have I will do this for both teams. Adam Schefter tweeted this out, and it got me thinking. You can have one free agent off the Chiefs roster. And I'm really going defense mostly. I think that's where we're going to land, but I'll give you all of them. It's Chris Jones, L'Jarius Sneed, Mike Dana, Willie Gay, Donovan Smith, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Jerick McKinnon, Drew Tranquill, Mike Edwards, Derek Nottie, Tershawn Wharton, obviously the punter, Tommy Townsend, Mecole Hardman. There might even be more. I really go to Chris Jones and L'Jarius Sneed here.
Those are the two.
I mean, those are the two. Which one are you taking?
I'm taking Chris Jones because I think the game's won and lost in the trenches. And I think a team, and yeah, obviously secondary is going to be a big need too for the Jaguars, but you let Derrick Henry run all over you and kept you out of the playoffs because you weren't physical enough, you weren't tough enough in the interior. Bringing Chris Jones, that changes. So to me, it's a no-brainer. I'm going Chris Jones.
How much do you like Sneed?
I like Sneed a lot too, but I just think from a game-wrecking perspective, I'm going Chris Jones.
Yeah, I would too. Again, now he's going to be, I think he already might be 30, but he might be getting, but that age doesn't bother me that much at that position for whatever reason. I think age does bother you at some other positions, not really that one.
So Chris Jones will be 30 in July.
30 in July. Okay. So yeah, it's pretty much the same as Danielle Hunter. I think that one. Now, Sneed's a guy you could have around for a long time too. You're talking about age, right? There's a big difference. You're like whole contract worth. I just said it all year, too. I was like, Chris Jones, man, if you had that guy, like if you really were somehow to find that guy in this defense, I really think the Jags would be dynamic and really good. And some of this was when the Jags were playing good defense, if I'm being honest with you. But it's just eye-popping if they had that interior presence, because the Jags have really done this the last couple of years without a huge interior presence. They did not get what they thought they were going to get on Fadakasi. Roy Robertson-Harris, I like him, but he's been inconsistent. Devon Hamilton, good year last year to earn the contract, and obviously a lost year this year because of the infection and the back injury. So Chris Jones, here's the other thing that Chris Jones gives you, and I don't know if Sneed gives you as much of this. He might. He gives you that dog, that mentality, that edge that I think there's a little missing here in Jacksonville in that locker room. And he knows what it's like. It would remind me a little bit of bringing a guy like Malik Jackson in.
Yeah.
Right? Because he had been there. Malik was a little younger when he came to Jacksonville, but he had that edge to him. He had been and won the Super Bowl. He knows what it takes. Like, you need some of those guys. I think he would really be a good signing for you if you were able to do it. And I don't know, because do you think he's going to be in Kansas City?
Chris Jones?
Yeah. I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to come down to what's more important to him. Does he want to try to go for that three-peat? Does he want the money? I'm not sure.
Yeah, legacy
I can't
play.
speak on it. Yeah.
All right, how about the San Francisco 49ers? I'll give you some free agents. Chase Young, Tayshaun Gibson, Feliciano, the offensive lineman, Javon Kinlaw, Sam Darnold, Oren Burks, Cleveland Farrell, Randy Gregory, Sebastian Joseph Day. Hey, Ben Barch.
There we go.
Heard of that guy. They've got a lot of them. Let's see. Chris Conley. By the way, how about Chris Conley? They also have Brandon Allen.
Oh, Georgia?
How many Jags are on San Francisco?
Right.
Anybody jump out?
Go back to the offensive lineman again.
Feliciano, and I think that's it.
Okay. He started, obviously.
Yeah, I think he was.
Yeah.
Did he get hurt in that? I think he actually got hurt in the game.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. Okay, that's what it was then. Yeah.
Probably not. I mean, though. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
As good as San Francisco's roster.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. Chase Young has lost a lot. No, Chase Young actually played pretty well in that game.
No, Chase Young balled out, but once again, like it's the whole "are you going to pay him?
Yeah,
what does he want?" kind of thing over Josh Allen.
Yeah. So, yeah, nobody jumps out. And here's the thing with all these guys, is the Jags used to have like half of them.
Yeah. Yeah. You forget. I looked it up last night again. Chris Conley's numbers, and what's good, he's from Georgia. Hamby, got you. Chris Conley's numbers, like, remember the combine? We talked about it so many times on the show before. 40-something inch vertical and just a freak athlete. And yeah, it was good to see him, get some shine.
I honestly, until the playoffs a couple weeks ago, I think it was the Packers game. He made a big catch.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was still playing. I really didn't, because he had gone to Houston after Jacksonville.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize he ended up in San Francisco. I was tweeting last night. He's the MVP of the game at one time.
Yeah.
I mean, special teams plays and you're making a catch. I mean, good for him. I was a big fan of Chris Conley, who we had on our show for a year at Top Golf. He was so good. I mean, really good. But wow, that he's still playing. No doubt they added weight to him, though, too, right? Almost like they made him like a hybrid tight end-ish kind of guy.
Look a tight end a little bit, yeah.
Doesn't he?
He's a big-looking dude, yeah, for sure.
But the one thing, again, I go back to this Jay Gruden conversation because it was just interesting to hear some of his thoughts. He said, I want to misquote him, if he said by far the best blocking receivers in the league. But I think he said by far the best blocking receiver group that he's ever seen.
For the San Francisco 49ers.
For the 49ers.
Yeah.
And he said Juwan Jennings, who obviously had the big game, is the best of all of them.
I mean, Debo's obviously legit.
Physical, and he locks people up.
Yeah.
Pretty wild to look at it through that lens of what they have.
Yeah. I mean, I heard someone break down the Rams and kind of said the same thing when I was watching a Rams game this past season.
Really?
It's definitely kind of a lost art in terms of the wide receivers being able to block, right? Because it's always secondary to me, right? Like, okay, I'm a wide receiver. What do I have to block for?
You don't think about it.
Exactly. But
shoot, it's secondary for a tight end to block these days.
No, of course. But it always seems like the teams that can do it well, it's noticeable.
Yeah.
Right? And the 49ers stick out. I mean, obviously the Rams are more of a pass-oriented, but they can pound the rock this year as well. So there is something to be said for that. That comes right down to coaching, though. Right? Is to try to get your wide receivers to be like, hey, if you're going to be part of this team, you got to block. Not especially, the prima donna types, they don't want to do that. They don't want to get their hands dirty. They don't want to be physical. So if you're a coach and can bring that out of your wide receivers, there's a lot about you.
I think most receiver coaches and most coaches will say it and talk about it a lot. But the guy that I heard talk about it the most in Jacksonville, in my time here, I think that I can remember is Mularkey. Mularkey obviously wanted to play that physical style of ball, but he would talk a lot about those receivers and their willingness to block. Got to have the willingness first of all, and you got to be able to execute and do it. I do think a lot of people block. I think a guy like Zay Jones, you see him sometimes. I think he's pretty undervalued in that respect. I think he does a good job. So you see it and hear it more and more, but it was just interesting to hear him say that about that receiving core. The other thing that he said last night, just one more Jay Gruden thing, again, a guy that's been around the game, he was talking about Mahomes, and he evaluated Mahomes coming out, but at times was a tough evaluation because he threw a lot of picks. He turned it over too much, and so it kind of like scared you a little bit. But then he called him like, he's got to be the best off-schedule quarterback of all time already. And it got me thinking like of older guys. Like now you got a lot of off-schedule guys, right? I mean, Lamar Jackson can be an off-schedule guy. I mean, almost any quarterback that plays almost has to be an off-schedule guy now.
Yeah.
But if you go back, like I would think of maybe a John Elway kind of played off-schedule. Favre was a good off-schedule guy.
Aaron Rodgers. I mean, the dude's footwork, mobility.
Yeah, I think you got to be. But I think what he was talking more specifically is his ability to get rid of the ball while he's like going down and tackle and everything.
Like the ability to extend the play when you're getting chased.
I think it's both, but I think it's part of the package. I think that's what separates a guy like Mahomes, which is really an interesting thing to evaluate. Like, who the hell would evaluate that? Yeah, really good when I'm like, throw it going down.
Yeah. We saw it again like last night. The guy, he's so deceivingly fast. You watch him run, and this is funny.
He ran for 66 yards.
One of my friends in the group chat said it, and I can't not stop thinking about this now, that Patrick Mahomes runs like a guy who's on the beach and the sand's hot.
Like, just go back and look.
Like, it's kind of like tiptoe. Just watch it. Watch and tell me he doesn't run like a guy who's barefoot with hot sand. That's exactly how he runs, but he gets the job done, man, time and time again.
Between that and Pacheco, the way he runs.
No, for sure. No, I mean, I agree with that comment, though. I think in terms of being able to extend the play, you think he's sacked and he's throwing it sidearmed. Like, the guy can do it all. And what gets me the most when you watch Patrick Mahomes, which is just, it's not fair, of how comfortable he is. Even a couple times when he got hit really hard. He got sacked behind the line of scrimmage, trying to, make something happen out of nothing. But, like, most of the time when he does that, he can find that opening. He's just back there, the pocket's collapsing, but he's so calm in his demeanor. I'm not sure, once again, I didn't watch a lot of Patrick Mahomes in college. I'm not sure if that was like that or not. but like he's like the rare exception. And they were saying his internal clock was going off a little too soon, whatever. I don't know, man. He's still trying to make things happen. A lot of these quarterbacks, when that pocket collapses or when you see a guy in your face, you panic. You're not going to like, no, I'm getting the bread of the ball, interception, or I'm going to fumble, whatever the case may be. Mahomes, it's like he waits till the very, very last second to get rid of that ball.
Yeah, I thought they were going to lose because there was that rollout play. I think Chase Young had him, and he had the intentional grounding, right? And it was like, well, even that's not working today for Mahomes. He had fumbled the snap. I know it was a low snap, but he usually would catch that. It was an interesting exchange with the running back. He threw the bad pick. It's like, this isn't his day. Like, they got him. This felt, I think Romo might have said it felt like Tampa.
Yeah.
It felt like the Tampa game. And then they were able to, that defense kept them alive. Special teams obviously turned the tide a little bit, and then they kept them, gave him enough chances to do his thing, which he eventually did. All right, let's take a break. Brent and Austen show approaching noon here on a Monday. We'll have the noontime news coming up, and the story about going viral this weekend, that is still on the way, plus some more Super Bowl chatter and how it ties to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Eventually, we'll be back here on a Monday. I like to say everybody has a story, and sometimes we're a part of other people's stories. That's the case here at Nimnicht Buick GMC. My family and the Nimnicht family. We've purchased 6 different vehicles from Nimnicht Buick GMC. Maybe you're in the market for a truck. Well, let me tell you about the GMC Sierra. I absolutely love mine. I've had a couple of these. This one's a 2020, but right now on 2024 GMC Sierras here at Nimnicht Buick GMC, there's special financing. A year ago, we purchased a GMC Terrain for the kids. Financing rates as low as 1.9% right now for eligible buyers on Terrains and Acadias too. Looking for used instead of new? Buy a used car with the Car Bravo program. Nimnicht Buick GMC certifies all makes and models. Let the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville take care of you and your family. Come on out and see the showroom, meet the fantastic people, or shop online at NimnichtBuickGMC.com. Nimnicht, your friends in the car business since 1941. GMC, we are professional grade.
There's never a dull day in Duval. At Action News Jax, we know Jacksonville is so much more than crime stories. That's why we're dedicated to covering every local neighborhood. Real stories told by real people, making a positive impact. Plus, with our fleet of drones, the First Alert Storm Tracker, and our passionate team of reporters,
You know a story about the bad gas that was found here?
you know if it's happening now and in Jacksonville, it's on. Action News Jax, local coverage you can count on.
The friendliest golf course in town, the Golf Club at Southampton. Local golfers have no shortage of options when it comes to picking a course to play here in Northeast Florida year-round. Yet time and time again, I find myself here at the Golf Club at Southampton. Easy to get to off 210 in St. Johns County. It's family-owned and operated and renowned for being one of the area's most player-friendly. That's just one of the reasons we hold the Action Sports Jax Dream 18 charity golf tournament here each fall. The Mark McCumber design layout is great for all skill levels of golfers, from the guys who bomb it a mile on the range to golfers like me who are just happy to put it in the fairway, which Southampton has very accommodating fairways. And if you need new clubs, come down to the pro shop. They'll fit you up and get you a nice new set like they did for me. For more information on membership or to book a tee time and see for yourself, head over to golfsouthampton.com or call the clubhouse at 904-287-7529. The Golf Club at Southampton. It's the official home of the Action Sports Jax Dream 18. Make it your home for golf too.
Thank you for making Action News Jax the best in Jax and Folio's Best of Jax 2023. Best TV station, Best TV newscast, Best TV morning show. Chandler Morgan voted Best TV anchor. The Chief, Mike Burrish, voted Best meteorologist. And Brent Martineau voted Best TV sports anchor. And while you're on the go, Best news website and Best local blog, The Burrish Blog. Thank you for making Action News Jax local coverage you can count on.
It can be daunting to fix or replace your AC unit. We've done it a couple of times, but it's a better experience because of Bold City Heating and Air. We visited boldcityac.com. They did the rest. There are not a lot of Jacksonville-grown and family-owned air conditioning businesses anymore. Bold City Heating and Air is just that, and it feels like it. They will help you navigate the process with first-class service, and they have no payments, no interest for 12 months right now on new systems. $50 off any repairs. Make sure you're safe and comfortable at home, and let Bold City Heating and Air help. boldcityac.com.
I'm Action News Jack's First Alert meteorologist Garrett Beaton. Well, the sun is up and it's going to be a beautiful day.
Sometimes you just need a day to yourself. And Garrett's First Alert forecast makes sure you're ready to go out and enjoy. Garrett and the Action News Jax This Morning team, helping you start your morning right.
Discover how good your water can be with a new Connecticut softener and drinking water system. Connecticut's twin tank non-electric softeners are the most efficient softeners available, and their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We know that at our home. You can find out as well. Right now, you can save $1,000 or more when you bundle the Connecticut Premier Softener with a Connecticut K5 drinking water system. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? Well, CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions to improve it. The higher your water score, the better your water. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. That's 904-552-1242, cgcwater.com. Financing options are available with approved credit. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing are proud partners of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I'm a proud customer of CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
It was always the Jaguars, probably my favorite slogan of at least the past decade or so. I mean, I am partial to All In just because I was involved in that one, even though my commercial never got aired. Still a little bitter at Jaguars Productions for not showing me, but that is what it is. But always the Jaguars stands out. Hopefully we move because there's got to be something. I brought up the idea. Fortune favors the bold. I'm not mad at it until I hear a better one. That's what I'm going to roll with.
I would have gone for that on Twitter.
Yeah, for sure.
That would have been a good idea.
Yeah.
If we had just done that. A lot of people, San Francisco's already the favorite, by the way, to win the Super Bowl next year. Like,
okay.
They do the quick odds for next year.
You get carry this into the offseason, right? They're all mad now and everything. Okay.
Do you look at it that way? I just saw, we just kind of went through some of the free agents, and Kansas City's number 2, but it was, I think it was like plus 450, then plus 750. And I want to say Baltimore was next, and then maybe who else? Who else? Oh, the Lions.
Yeah,
and then the Jags were down to Jags were 33-1. Houston more favorite, 25-1.
Okay,
but I don't know. Do you feel like San Francisco, who has been there a couple times now in 5 years, who obviously was really good last year before the quarterback bug hit him with the injuries? Are you buying them again? Because I feel like their defense felt old at times this year and then delivered well in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Their offense, I think, is going to be dynamic, but even there, Debo got hurt again in yesterday's game. He is not a durable guy.
I can't believe that. Well, he's not a durable guy, but I think he's been dealing with something all season, right? And I thought he tore his hamstring, off the bone.
Yeah.
The way he kind of fell on the ground, and he came back in. I was like, what did they give him? Because, I tore my hamstring in training camp and tried to practice with it. Doesn't work so well, no. So he must have all the adrenaline. Maybe he was pumped up from the Usher halftime show. I'm not sure what the case was, man, but I was very surprised to see Debo still out there. To answer your question, the most important position is the quarterback, right? So you would think that Brock Purdy maybe takes a step forward now, more confidence on the big stage, could even have a better performance than he had this past year as the quarterback of the 49ers. One could think so. Debo's getting up. Well, it's not even getting up there, but he's had the injuries a little bit. George Kittle, I feel like, is up there a little bit. But I think that they're suited, especially in free agency. They're not really missing. They're not going to lose a lot of people. I think they're suited to make another run, absolutely. So in terms of the favorite, I'd probably put them as the favorite because Kansas City, there's a lot of question marks there in terms of who they're going to lose.
Yes, here we go again. There are a lot of question marks this year, and they won anyway. And that gets us to the point where I really want to talk about today is how they've got a DNA, right? They've got it. Whatever that is, they weren't supposed to win this year. They were, let's be honest, they were average a lot of this year.
Yeah.
By their standard especially. But even their offense was very average. Travis Kelce looked like dropping balls and not the same guy. We knew they didn't have the weapons. Their defense definitely raised up. I mean, their defense was good all year. But and they have a very good kicker, so they've got a good team, but they just didn't look like they had close to the best team. I mean, I thought the Bills were better on paper. I thought the Baltimore Ravens, by the end of it, certainly were better on paper. You look at San Francisco earlier in the year, you look at the Eagles. I mean, you look at the Jags. I mean, listen, Jags lost 17-9, and I was like, okay, well, that was an anomaly, 9 points. They're going to score more than that. Well, Jags did have some struggles at times this year scoring, and turns out they weren't even close to them. So I'm not counting them out. They'll reinvent themselves. They'll figure it out. But you're right. They might not have Chris Jones or somebody else, but they still find a way. They lost Tyreek Hill, and they've won back-to-back Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Right, the most dangerous player in the game, and they've won back-to-back Super Bowls without him. They just have the it. We talk about the it with Patrick Mahomes or with a quarterback. They have the it. Some people call it DNA. They know how to do it, and I don't know why it happens.
Why does it happen? I mean, it's not just one thing, right? Like, yeah, the quarterback's got something to do with it. But, man, I'm telling you, and I'm going to keep on giving – you might just call me the florist at this point, because I'm going to give Andy Reid his flowers the entire week. I mean, a lot of it has to do with him. When they lost Tyreek Hill, I was in the camp of, okay, well, you just lost your best wide receiver, arguably your best weapon, and I get Travis Kelce as a thing too, but your best weapon, and you don't really skip a beat. And by the way, you did this with a bunch of – and when the season started, Brent, and that Lions game, I'm like, okay, it's one game, but we'll see what happens. And then you started watching this team a little more, and like, Valdez-Scantling's not the guy, I don't think. We'll see about Rashee Rice. I'm not sure if he's going to be the guy. Like, they don't have a wide receiver. How are they ever going to win an Andy Reid-style offense? Well, they pulled it off. So, to me, it comes down to coaching first and foremost. Yes, you have the best quarterback in the league. Check. But I don't think you get there if you don't have the head coach to wrangle him in and say, listen, I know we just lost Tyreek Hill, but we're going to be okay. We're going to pound the rock a little more this year with Isaiah Pacheco. We're still going to use Travis Kelce when we need him, and I'm going to be in the kitchen cooking up all these crazy formations and all these crazy plays. Oh, yeah, and by the way, when training camp starts, I'm going to make sure that we know the overtime rules in the Super Bowl, because I have a feeling, because I'm Andy Reid, we're going to have to know those when the game's on the line.
Yeah, listen, there is commonplace in football, at least if we're thinking most recently, but I'll even go back to maybe the Cowboys in the 90s, right? Jimmy Johnson, obviously very good. What they were building, 3 out of 4 years, I think it was. And obviously the Patriots for 2 decades, Bill Belichick and Andy Reid with Kansas City. So you have that. If you want to go to other sports, you have Duke and Mike Krzyzewski, right? You had North Carolina and Roy Williams. So the coaching obviously is a bit. You're not going to do that if you don't have a good coach. But also by doing that, your coach gets elevated,
yeah.
Right? So it's a two-way street in that department. You think about the old Yankees teams, right? When they won in the late 90s, Joe Torre was terrific. So, like, I get there are recipes. You have to have good players. You have to have a good coach. I think in some of these cases, at least at the time, it felt like very good organizations. The Patriots feel like from ownership down, they were on the same page.
Yeah.
I think Kansas City, with the family, the Hunt family, owning that team for all these years, and they kind of feel like they do things the right way. So there's a little bit of part of it there. But I don't know if it's a certain belief. I don't know if it's a confidence. I don't know if it's a lack of pressure because you've done it. I just don't understand exactly why some teams make plays and some don't. I think the Detroit Lions were better than San Francisco 2 weeks ago. They were the better football team, in my opinion, that day. They blew a 24-7 lead in some respects because they're the Detroit Lions. There were times growing up as a Red Sox fan that the Red Sox lost because they were the Red Sox. I think the Jags lose some things and tweet, "We move," because they're the Jags sometimes. Yeah, I mean, so I don't know why that is. I don't know if anybody knows why that is, really, because everybody would try to fix it or duplicate it if not.
I wasn't with you when the season started this past year, but if I was going to ask you, despite knowing what we know now, so go back to week 1 of the NFL season, you look at every single roster top to bottom, where would you have put the Kansas City Chiefs in terms of roster? Like, wow, this roster – the Super Bowl winning roster, this roster can make the playoffs. Like, where would you rank them?
I'm just going to To guess, I'll put like 12.
Yeah. And that's probably what I would put him
It might be a little disrespectful. Maybe it was more like 8 or 9. But
honestly, like, I get, Patrick Mahomes, right? Like, yeah, best quarterback in the league. Chris Jones, okay, I probably would have thought about him. But, like, when I see the wide receivers, I'm like, I don't know how they're going to make this work, honestly.
Yeah, and by the way, Snead wasn't Snead yet.
Correct.
Right?
You didn't know.
They had some young talent, but they weren't like that playing that level.
Exactly. I agree with you. I mean, I would have took so many teams before them. Would have took the Lions before them. Would have took, the Jaguars. I don't know about the Jaguars before them, but like, it could have been in deep talks, No, like Calvin Ridley, watching him in training camp, like, all right, I like them. What makes a difference to me, Brent? It's the culture, and it's a very cliche thing to say. And does that come from the players more? Does it come from the coaches more? Is it a combination? Whatever the case may be. But one would think that if you got traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, or you're a free agent and you went to the Kansas City Chiefs, or you're drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs, there's an expectation. There's a precedent where it's like, hey, we're coming here to win Super Bowls, okay? We're not just here to win a division. We're not just here to make an AFC. Like, we're coming to win Super Bowls because that's what we do. Andy Reid turned that thing around so quickly, and I got what you said earlier in the show today, and I agree. Like, he had a good setup, right? You had 6 Pro Bowlers on a team that won 2 games. Doesn't make any type of sense whatsoever, right? And I get that. But you still had to take that 2-win team and turn it into something else, okay? So that takes coaching right there. That takes culture building. And I think once you establish that, and you take a look at the guys that have come and gone now from these Chiefs teams, right? Like, Tom Ali's gone. Justin Houston's gone. Jamal Charles is gone. Eric Berry, probably arguably one of the best safeties, most underrated players ever in the NFL. He's gone. They're all gone. But the expectation still remains the same. And that's what culture is. Culture is when you can interchange players here or there. Maybe there's an injury. Maybe there's a grievance of a player not wanting more money, so he decides to leave. Whatever the case may be. But those things happen, and you don't miss a beat. Look what all that's happened with the Kansas City Chiefs these past couple of years, of who they've lost, of who's been injured, and they really haven't skipped a beat. That's a direct correlation of culture.
All right, I'm going to throw back on a couple of things there in a moment. Let's hear Patrick Mahomes, though, talking about culture after this game and what they've built. And, of course, he's a big part of it because if you've got that guy, you can do a lot of things that make, let's just say, the culture blossom a little bit more.
It's culture, man. I got brought into this culture. Alex Smith was leading this team. They had the pieces in place, and Coach Reid was the ultimate leader. And I got brought in, and I just kind of try to exemplify that and keep pushing to be even better. And that's why in moments like this, guys come through, and it truly is special. It really is special just to be able to say we're back-to-back champs.
So I love that, and I also love this topic, and I love the psychology of sports. And so I push back on 2 things, and I think I know the answer here. But if culture is culture, and you can rotate players in and out, and new guys come in and they adopt it because the other guys that are still there kind of help show it, then why did the Patriots just go 47-57 in the years that Tom Brady left? Right? So Belichick was there. It was still his team. It was his culture. Like, who did they lose? Well, the easy answer is, well, Brett, they lost Tom Brady. I mean, they lost the greatest quarterback. You still have to have players, right?
Yeah.
And that's hard to replace. So this is where I say Patrick Mahomes and sports in general. We were talking about Andy Reid. Would he be doing this in Philly? I would say probably not, because I think the situation fits well situationally for Andy Reid better in Kansas City for his lifestyle, for his personality, for what he wants to do, for his ownership of the whole football organization with not as many cooks in the kitchen like ownership and GM and everything else. Well, Patrick Mahomes is also blessed the way Russell Wilson was very blessed. Russell Wilson went into a situation where he didn't have to do everything. He had a running game, he had a legit defense, and a coach had been around the block. Patrick Mahomes goes in, doesn't even have to play right away. He just talked about it. This wasn't my culture I built. This was Alex Smith's culture and Andy Reid's culture and everybody else who taught me it, and now I get to hand that down. Totally different than what a guy like Trevor Lawrence and Doug Peterson have to do. Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence have to come in and shake the culture of Urban Meyer and the losing years and everything that had transpired even in the few years before Urban Meyer and flip that around and create their own culture and try to find that identity and win. Much, much more difficult thing to do. And then the other part of this is, can you have a culture like Kansas City, winning culture, the it factor, the DNA, without winning and winning big. I bring you to Buffalo. Buffalo has a lot of talent.
Correct.
Buffalo can't get over the hump. Buffalo either gets a bad break or Buffalo runs into a buzzsaw. Buffalo doesn't make the right play at the end of the game. Is that a culture thing? Is that a McDermott problem? Is that a Josh Allen deal? Is that sports? That's what I mean. Like, it's a real tricky thing to figure out, even when you think you got it and are almost there, where I thought the Jags were kind of headed under Doug Peterson and Trevor Lawrence up until like December 4th at about 11 o'clock at night on Monday Night Football.
Okay. So to counter with that, I mean, let's talk about Andy Reid then. Let's talk about culture. All right, let's talk about what Doug Peterson had to inherit and all this stuff, right? And Bill Belichick, that's a great point as well. Was it just Tom Brady? I'm going to disagree there. So when you talk about the Kansas City Chiefs, right, yes, they had 6 Pro Bowlers on their team, right? So anybody could come into a Pro Bowl Kansas City team and do better. Well, they went 2-14 with Romeo Crennel for 1 year. They fired him, right? Lost the locker room, lost everything. Previous to that, you had Todd Haley, who did okay, 7-9 his last year, 10-6, lost some wild card, then 4-12, then 2-14, and then 4-12 again. Okay? That's not good. What my point is that you can say that you had all these players ready to roll, and that's fine, but then how come you only won 2 games? If you truly had 6 Pro Bowlers on your team, which you did, I get it, you still only won 2 games. I mean, are we calling Romeo Crennel the worst coach in football history? I don't think so. I think he's pretty respected in NFL circles. I don't think he's a bad coach. I don't think he's a bad guy. So to come in once again, and I get you had all the players, but to come in after a team won 2 games to turn it around and go 11-5 your first year, that's not just luck. That's not just falling into, you got lucky with all these players. No, you had to do something to turn that entire organization around and go 11-5. We always say all the time, it's not easy to win the NFL. It's not easy to go 2-14 one year and the next year you go 11-5. That's near impossible. The whole Bill Belichick point, I get what you're saying there. Here's what I think happened with Bill Belichick. I think his style worked for as long as it could. His style being an old school, almost Tom Coughlin-esque, right? The biggest point that I'm ever going to see with Bill Belichick and that locker room this past season, I think it was Zappa, but it might have been Mac Jones. Whoever the quarterback was for the game that they won. Bill Belichick gives his speech. The quarterback comes up, and it's not even like a celebration. He shakes hands and goes, "Thank you, sir," after a win. How many quarterbacks do you see after a big win? I forget what I'll win into that win, but I know it was an exciting finish, right? Yeah. Was it Zappy or was it Mac Jones?
I think it was Zappy.
I think it was Zappy too. Okay. How many quarterbacks, especially younger quarterbacks, do you see who win a game, put the game on their shoulders or whatever? You come in and celebrate, and instead of saying "F yeah" or "let's do," you just go, "Thank you, sir." Unheard of.
Yeah.
Unheard of.
That's a good point.
So to me, that speaks volumes in terms of what type of locker room that was. Now, we've heard Danny Amendola say it. We've heard Julian Edelman say it time and time again. It wasn't a fun place to play.
Yeah.
They weren't having a lot of fun. Now, they were winning. So when you win, you have fun, obviously. But it wasn't necessarily the best environment to go have fun every single day. And when you start losing, like we saw in Jacksonville, then what happens? Then all of a sudden you start pointing fingers, and all of a sudden it's like, I don't want to be here anymore. That, to me, is what happened to Bill Belichick. And that, to me, is the reason why Bill Belichick doesn't have a job right now. That, to me, is the reason why Mike Vrabel doesn't have a head coaching job, because they're from the same philosophies, right? Look at Andy Reid's coaching tree. How's this coaching tree doing right now?
Yeah, pretty good.
Not too shabby, right? Want to put it against Bill Belichick's coaching tree? How's that coaching tree doing? Seen better days. So that, to me, is, once again, it comes down to culture, where it's like, Bill Belichick, yeah, he has the resume, man. Why didn't he get another job? Because teams aren't trying to go with this old school approach anymore, especially with a team that needs rebuilding, right? Like, you don't want to bring in the old guy and be like, I'm going to run you guys into the ground. I'm going to change everything. Modern day NFL players don't react to that. So that's why I think Belichick's out of a job right now. That's why I think Mike Vrabel's out of a job right now. And that's why I think Andy Reid should be celebrated, just because he knows how to run the culture.
I think Trent Baalke actually said something very good in his postseason press conference. I know that will surprise some people, but I think he said, and I'm going to paraphrase here, but he said something like, hey, getting to 500 or getting to a winning season, that's the easy part. Getting to that next part, the championship part, is the hard part. And that's where I give Reid and guys like that a lot of credit, is the ability to stay on top when you're the hunted. I get all the things you just said about 2-14 to 11-5. I mean, Doug Peterson did it. They had a number 1 overall pick and got to the playoffs. I mean, they got a winning record. They won a division. Houston just did the same thing. We have examples of doing it. I mean, it's not a lot of examples, by the way, but we do have examples of doing it and kind of changing it and flipping it. I think the one that Doug ran into and kind of ran into a little bit in Philadelphia too, which we don't know if he's as good at, Andy Reid and Belichick and others, is once you get there, what does it look like to stay there? Mm-hmm. Because when he won the Super Bowl, they did go back to the playoffs, and I think they might have won a playoff game, so that was good in Philly. But then it started to fall off, and he ended up getting fired. I think the question you could raise about Doug Peterson is once you get there or are right there, is how do you maintain it? And, of course, the Jags still have a lot of mountain to climb in terms of getting all the way to the pinnacle. But how do you maintain even the success that you're having? And the Jags failed miserably in the final 6 weeks at that. Once they became the target, once people are talking about them as a top 3-4 team, number 1 seed potentially, they crumbled. And for a variety of reasons. I don't think there's one reason, but they did crumble. And so, okay, this might be the easy part this year. There's plenty of motivation. There's chips on the shoulder again. There's a sense of urgency again. This might be easy for the Jags to coach that up, to get there, to ride the mountain back up. The question will be, if you do get there again, can you stay there? And that's the beauty of what Andy Reid and others do. And that's, I think, that hard part of winning for a lot of years in the NFL or any sport.
And that's been the MO of Doug Peterson. When you're the underdog, you shine. When you're the front runner, you fall off a little bit. So, yeah, this up-and-coming season, one would think there's going to be a little bit of an underdog chip on your shoulder just because people are on the Houston Texans, as they should be, right? Promising young quarterback, promising young coach, some very, explosive offensive weapons. Yeah, people are on the Texans, they should be. If you're the Jaguars, does that push you the wrong way? Are you upset? I mean, if I'm a player in that locker room, I definitely would be. But you brought it up, Brent, and you said it perfectly. It's so hard to stay on top because it's hard to find those motivating factors to stay on top, right? Like people want to think, oh, these are grown men, they want to win. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, any player wants to win football games, of course. But then it comes down to the preparation. Then it comes down to the small, minute details. And when you're the front runner, man, those can kind of go by the wayside a little bit because we've been here before. We know what to do. We're good. I always think back to what Gus Bradley, and I get it, Gus Bradley, his time here wasn't the best. But I always think that he was a great motivator and an eloquent speaker. But he used to always have this phrase of don't get addicted to the big meal, keep eating crumbs. And basically what that meant was if you get complacent, if you get comfortable eating that big dinner, that big meal, eventually you fall off. But if you have the philosophy of you keep eating crumbs where it's like every single day you're scratching and you're clawing just to get those crumbs and you keep that mindset, good things can happen. I think with Andy Reid in Kansas City, they've been eating crumbs now for the past decade, it seems like, man, and they're still doing their thing. So, yeah, I agree with you. I think that when you are a team that is a front runner, only a few coaches can maintain being a front runner, can maintain that consistency before it falls by the wayside. And once again, it's kind of been the theme of this conversation so far, Brent. That's where culture comes into play.
Well, listen, I also will say this. I think luck goes a lot into sports, and even sometimes the sports psychology of things. Look what happened to Kansas City. If you thought they were going to get all, hey, we're the greatest, we got this, no problem, nobody's going to beat us. Look what happened to them. They go on right at the right time. They get to be an underdog at Buffalo, an underdog at Baltimore, an underdog in the Super Bowl, and Andy Reid can play that card up. Look, nobody believes in you.
Yeah.
I mean, Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, he's getting all the heat, right? He's getting the critics. That just motivates you as an athlete, right? Motivates you as a competitor. So it flipped right at the right time. Be like, they're doubting us? Are you kidding me? Now we get that extra strain, that extra, I'm going to show you again. And it just flipped at the right time. I'm sure the Patriots experienced some of that. We know, like Duke basketball, Christian Laettner, those guys experience that. That's motivating in itself to go flip everybody else off after you win a title.
No, without a doubt. And you want to know it was a factor because I think it was Patrick Mahomes said it right after the game. He said, we're not going to be underdogs again or something like that. Yeah. So like that was obviously a talking point. And the fact that you just won the Super Bowl and you're talking about being the underdog, it's like, yeah, that was definitely a talking point through that entire week.
Yeah, listen, Michael Jordan made his whole career that way, right? I mean, we saw it in the whole documentary that he would just make stuff up.
Yeah.
just to motivate in that way. So, again, that's where this all comes into play, and it's just been the perfect recipe, I think, overall. You still have to be good, by the way, but the doubters don't hurt you. And let's see if the Jags can motivate themselves the entire offseason with the doubters. How about Josh Allen? How does he stay on top? You have a record year. Do you get complacent? You're going to get paid. Do you get complacent? Easy. Human nature. You would. I would. That's the difference between these athletes usually is they don't or the best don't. So what's going to drive Josh Allen next? He can say all he wants, that he wants to be a Hall of Famer or the best, but he still has to work that way. You can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
You got to work that way. And the proof will be in the performance of what he backs up this 17.5 sack season in 2024.
But also, you know what helps, though, too, in terms of that motivating factor is having a team that supports you. You know, and if you stick with that franchise tag and you get nothing done, one could think, does that hurt the motivation a little bit, or does that even increase the motivation and be like, hey, when I'm done here, because I don't want, I don't want to even speak this into existence, but if you play on a franchise tag and they don't pay you, who's to say, well, guess what? I bet on myself again. Now let's see who's going to pay me the most bucks.
Yeah, that could put you in a bad mental frame of mind. Or you could embrace it and then see you later. We'll see. All right. See you later for a moment as we head to timeout here on the Brent Austen Show on a Monday. Obviously, a lot of Super Bowl talk, and the Super Bowl of racing is on the horizon. Daytona 500 on Sunday. We will be there. We'll be there a couple of times this week as well. So talking some NASCAR coming up this week on Brent and Austen Show as well, but more football and how we went viral coming next. Just be yourself. Maybe we're talking about being a dad or a mom, a first responder or a teacher. Maybe it's a sports fan. We love those. We're talking about anyone in the Jacksonville community. At Community First Credit Union, just be yourself means being real. When you partner with Community First, it's straightforward. They're people connecting with you, so you can be yourself. I've been coming here to Community First for years. This is the Bartram branch, the one I usually come to, and they have mortgage loans, personal loans, and auto loans, and I'm almost done paying off that truck loan. Just a few more months. Good rates, easy online banking, and friendly customer service when I have a question. It's easy to be myself with Community First. They live up to the slogan in their name. Community First has partnerships in the Jacksonville community with the Iceman, the Florida Theater, the Jacksonville Zoo, and many more. Visit one of the Jacksonville branches or find out all you can do with Community First Credit Union at communityfirstfl.org so you can just be yourself.
Start your morning right. Start your morning right. A new day, a new traffic headache. But Action News Jax traffic expert Maritza Ross is here to guide all kinds of daily drivers, like the traffic dodgers.
Don't worry, I'm going to get you around this mess on I-95.
The side street seekers.
Now you can exit early on 17 due to
the last-minute leavers.
If you're getting a late start this morning, here are your fastest routes.
So let Maritza save you time on Action News Jax this morning.
Navigating to that perfect car can be a daunting task. Trust me, I understand, but if you want to find the perfect blend of sales and service for your automotive needs, look no further than the Tom Bush family of dealerships.
Here at Tom Bush, they do things right. Dating back to 1970, they've been a staple in the community, giving back and keeping everything local. With 4 different brands to choose from, BMW, Mazda, Volkswagen, and many, there's a car for every member of the family, and the customer service is second to none. Looking to add an electric vehicle to your fleet? Tom Bush remains at the forefront of new technology with plenty of staff on hand to walk you through the future of driving and help eligible customers file for that EV tax credit.
Whether you're looking for your future driver's first car or you want to step up to luxury and arrive in style, the Tom Bush family of dealership is the only stop that you need to make.
Stop by the showroom or check out the inventory at tombush.com.
I've been forecasting the weather for a long time, and no matter where I go, I always get asked the same question.
Hey, Mike, what's the weather gonna be like?
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
Mike, hey, what's the weather gonna be like?
I don't mind being asked because I always have the answer. Great day for a perfect round of golf. Hey, a little rain later today. So go ahead, ask me.
Hey, Mike, I'm heading out. What's the weather like tonight?
It's the same question, even at home.
Mike Burrish, he's got your weather answer on Action News Jax.
Go where all the pros go. Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute takes care of athletes at the highest level, like the Jacksonville Jaguars players.
they will take care of you too.
Our team covers a lot of teams here in Jacksonville: FSCJ, JU, the Axemen, the Jumbo Shrimp, the Sharks, and of course the Jacksonville Jaguars. JOI covers all those teams as well. And then there's youth sports. My kids play baseball and softball. And whenever we have an injury question, the first call is to JOI.
Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute has been serving Jacksonville for 30 years, and they have over 30 specially trained physicians and assistants at 5 locations in the area. If your injury is specific to an area of the body, JOI has a specialist. They also are leaders in robotic surgery, joint replacement, and sports medicine. JOI Rehab has 13 locations and 90 therapists to get you better. Comprehensive care with caring physicians and staff at JOI. From youth sports to high school, college, and the pros, Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute. JOI. Go where all the pros go.
When the sun sets and night begins, Action News Jax is working to bring you the big, important stories at 11 you need to know about.
Live in downtown.
From Orange Park.
From the south side.
From all over Jacksonville, we keep you informed on local news happening now and get you ready for what's next tomorrow.
Plus, Chief Meteorologist Mike Burrish has the area's most accurate forecast to help you plan for the day ahead.
Live at 11, it's worth staying up for CBS 47 Action News Jax.
When you think sports, you think Action Sports Jax, the official station of the Jaguars, on location for every game. But the most experienced team in town doesn't stop there. From high school football to the big events in the area, Action Sports Jax is always on. Coming soon, we take that to a new level. Action Sports Jax 24/7 is around-the-clock coverage of the teams you love and the moments you can't miss. The best local sports in Jacksonville on Action Sports Jax 24/7.
At the end of the 7th round, and the 49ers called.
Hey, there's a look at a hangar at Craig Airport where they had a V for Victory fundraiser Super Bowl party. Jim Furyk there, Fred Funk there. I mentioned many times in the show, Jay Gruden was there, along with Jeff Lageman, Chris Doering, former Florida Gator, who, by the way, was drafted by the Jags in 1996 in the 6th round. Look how many people were there. This was a really cool event. I had no idea what to expect. I had a chance to MC some of the football conversation before the game kicked off, and 800 folks, a bunch of businesses and vendors, all for a good cause. V for Victory is a foundation set up to help support families battling cancer, and they raised about $150,000 last night at this event. They've been doing terrific work around the community for years now. And really a fun time. Obviously, Las Vegas themed. They had a casino up there and everything else, and a lot of food and drink and the rest. It was a fun party. And you know what really surprised me is just how successful they were at getting all those folks out on a Super Bowl Sunday night. I figured everybody stayed in the neighborhood or stayed at home. I've even talked to like restaurants and bars who there's not a lot of folks at a restaurant and a bar on Super Bowl Sunday because everybody kind of has their own little party. Almost 1,000 folks at this.
Impressive, man.
Yeah,
That's cool in
stuff.
a hangar, yeah.
Yeah, really cool. The hangar parties are fun. Job well done. Paul Scott is a founder and many others helping out, and just a great night last night. And again, raised close to $150,000 to help cancer folks that are battling cancer and the families. And they have a lot of cool programs, so you might want to look it up. V for Victory is what it's called, because they have a lot of cool programs. If you're a business, you can get involved with services for families that are battling cancer, and the way they do it, it's kind of a neat setup to help families, and also a good way to get involved if you're a business. So a fun night last night. That was the second one, and I think they're going to keep doing it, probably just get bigger and better every single year. Brent Martineau Austen Lane, Brent and Austin Show, and that includes Jason Hamby and the Noontime News. You don't have to tell us who won the Super Bowl, Hamby. We got that one. I think the Chiefs are back-to-back Super Bowl champs, but what else do you have here on a Monday? There we go. Are you going to go with the same music all the time, or are you going to mix it up?
Yeah, this is different, man.
I'm just asking. Like, are you trying to land on one? Can you turn that down a little bit? The fail looks a little hot.
I'm digging it.
No, a little more.
A little more?
No, a little more. I need a little more music. You turn it. There you go, right there. That's good. I don't know if that's just
more specific what you want, Brent. You need a little more what?
I know,
Down or up?
That was bad.
Yeah.
But we got there.
It's the Action Sports Jax curse. Apparently, he's wreaking this network.
Well, thankfully, we're only seeing you from the top up.
Yes.
Much like Patrick Mahomes. All right. Mm-hmm.
Mm. Gotcha.
Hey, Hamby, apparently someone's texting me that we cannot hear you live on the YouTube feed.
That's another operator error. Here we are.
Oh,
there
so
we
we're
go.
back.
I mean, that was a great Tiger Woods breakdown,
Good
too,
thing we
man.
got people listening and texting me. Thanks, Shachter. So, Hamby, do that again. Tiger Woods ends his run with Nike. Now where's he going?
Probably TaylorMade because he already uses their clubs, but that announcement will come at 4 o'clock today before he gets set to make his year debut at the Genesis Invitational at Riviera.
Okay, so here's the thing. TaylorMade, from a clothing standpoint too, or is he talking equipment-wise?
Well, he already uses their clubs, so today he's going to announce what he's going to wear. So.
Do they make TaylorMade 3/4 zips, Brent?
Of course they. I don't know.
Then
actually.
he's fine.
That's a really good question. I don't know the clothing line of TaylorMade.
I'm looking it up right now.
I'm trying to. I don't think I own a piece of clothing with TaylorMade.
They make golf performance clothing, as they call it.
All right.
Yeah, you got your stacked script Logie hoodie. Hey, $80 for a hoodie, TaylorMade do better. $37 for a T-shirt, TaylorMade do better.
If you were Tiger and you could pick your clothing line, where would you go?
$145 for a quarter zip, TaylorMade do better. You ain't Lululemon. Sorry,
that's why I don't play golf.
What was the question, Brent?
Where would you go if you could pick your clothing line?
Louis Vuitton.
Wow, really? You're a Louis Vuitton guy?
No, but golf needs help. Golf needs some kind of swag. Everyone's rocking the exact same thing.
I mean, you thought $145 was bad.
Hey,
Louis Vuitton.
Hamby, I'm not paying for it now, am I, man?
That's a good point.
Sponsorships.
All right, what else you got?
All right, we got the Super Bowl was incredibly bad for Vegas. They got bagged because the game went to overtime and because the Chiefs won. The BetMGM, I guess his title is he's the head of the lines, I guess you could say. He said, a lot were on the Chiefs, and because so many people bet overs on props, that's, more people tend to bet the over on props than the under. The fact that it went to overtime means they got bagged in, a huge swing.
Makes sense to me.
Also, the spread on the game was 47. Rightfully so. The game ends 25-22. If I remember correctly, one of us predicted that the score would be 24-23. So they were 1 point off in each direction.
That's pretty good. That's why you want to get that in. That was Hamby.
That was Hamby. Yeah. What a flex.
So you were right on the 47.
Yeah.
Good stuff, Hamby.
That actually is pretty good.
You would be surprised. I guess you would be surprised how many times they literally come between 1.5 to 2 points of whatever they put out as the over-under.
No, Vegas is unbelievable. It's amazing.
It's insane.
It's really amazing. By the way, you know what else I'll give you? That was the second overtime game. I was actually at the first. I forgot about that Atlanta game, which 28-3 in the comeback, and Brady won his fifth Super Bowl, had gone to overtime. That's like that's a footnote in that conversation, right?
Yeah. And that's kind of why they changed the rules.
Well, it feels like they changed the rules more because of like the Bills and Chiefs game.
Yeah, but I mean, Brady still in that overtime games
march right down.
Right down. They score, the game's over. Falcons never get a shot, which obviously you could argue they had 15 shots to put the game away, but
All right, you got anything else?
That's all for today.
I like it.
Hamby,
I like that Vegas
I have something for you real quick.
Let's hear it.
So it's a little hard to see that shirt, but it looks like in the top left corner, is that a Rush 2112 album?
This is 2112. This is every Rush album ever made.
Are you a Rush fan, or are you just one of those kids? Really?
Yes.
Oh, Brent, someone just got some points in my book.
Every song that you can. That's what I grew up playing. Me and my brother are both musicians. So my dad was a huge He's a fanatic. He's a geek, Rush geek.
Yeah.
We saw him live as kids, and then everything we ever played was we wanted to be Neil Peart. We wanted to be Geddy Lee, Lifeson. So every Rush
R.I.P.
song.
Neil Peart, by the way, Brent.
So your brother plays the drums.
Yes.
Locally. What instrument did you play?
I play a little bit of everything. My brother is the drum freak.
That usually means you're not good at anything.
Well, I mean, I gig with him, so you could tell me.
Utility player, Brent? What are you talking about?
I played keys for like 15 years and stopped, and then I taught myself how to play guitar, and I played drums. If you can play half of the Rush songs, then you're a decent drummer.
Brent's so upset right now we're talking about music, but it's fine. Hey, Hamby, real quick.
You think I can mix my mom in here with the violin?
Oh, absolutely, man. Favorite Rush song, please, and go.
Subdivisions.
Okay.
Didn't hesitate there.
Or Free Will.
Free Will. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
Jason Hamby, Noontime News.
That's it.
And a shout out to Aaron Schachter, by the way, for turning up your mic, even from upstairs on the other side of the building. Good luck to him and Brian Middleton today. They'll have their debut show today at 3 o'clock on ESPN 690. You can listen to those guys. We went viral over the weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know if Hamby's ready for this part, but
oh man, yeah, we did.
I've never seen I've never watched it unfold. Like everybody talks about going viral, and you see a lot of things. Like, here's how this happened. I'll give you more details as we go. But 19,000 views. I was counting up like how the metrics of the week and for our sales department and everything else. So I did this at like 10 in the morning on Saturday, and I was looking at the Patrick Mahomes clip that we actually put out on Thursday. Casey Kurtz did that. And we had 19,000 views. I was like, wow, that's performing well. But it makes a lot of sense because they've got the Super Bowl coming up. Maybe people landed on it, whatever. Well, at noon, I get a text from Olivia Tasley, who's on the gram a lot, I think.
There you go.
And she's like, hey, this thing's going viral. It's up to like 54,000 views, which I don't even know if that qualifies for viral or not.
Sure.
But I was like, okay. Well, I click on it. No, it's 57,000. And I click on it. And after, like, she texted me. And once I clicked on it, it was at 74.
Yeah.
And then it was at 97.
Yeah.
And then it was at like 2-something. Then it was at 3-something.
Because we kept getting updates, by the way, the whole day.
We did get updates. How'd you feel about that?
I mean, I'm indifferent because, I had my cell phone on silent, but I was really close to texting, hey, it's a beautiful day in Jacksonville. Go outside and touch some grass. But I didn't do that. But I thought about saying that. Because it was like the best day ever, and we're worried about, okay, it went up another 100,000. I'm like, okay, we'll see where
we
it
were
ends.
like watching it in real time. So I took like an hour off, and then it was up to like 600 something. I was like, this is how this works. Like, you must just get, I look at it as like a tornado. You're in like this, like, seriously, you're in this, you're in the tornado. You're in the funnel.
Sure.
Because at 5 o'clock, so by 5 o'clock, we get 1 million views. At 10 a.m., we were at 19,000 views.
Yeah.
And by 5 o'clock, we were at 1 million. And so here's why I compare it to a tornado. Because when the tornado stops, it's over. Right?
Sure.
I mean, it's over, and the wreckage is there.
It's the quiet calm then after it. Yeah.
Well, by 6 o'clock, we hit 1.1 million views, and I think we're still at 1.1 million views.
Yeah, it just stopped. It just stopped. Yeah. Yeah, the
and the wreckage was in the comments.
The algorithm served its purpose.
But we'll get to the comments.
We'll get there in a minute.
So to justify how big this was, though, which once again, I mean, listen, I know I had the laid back demeanor and don't really care, but like even I understood the gravity of what was happening. It was so big that I had a random friend from college reach out to me. He's like, "Hey man, are you doing a radio show?" I'm like, "Yeah." Where did that come from? He's like, you just randomly popped up on my Facebook feed, like a video of me talking with Brent. So like I knew like it was a big deal then when people were just kind of reaching out saying, "Hey, I just randomly saw you pop up like across my timeline."
I thought I'd get more of that actually as the views were going. It's like, who's going to see me and say like,
Yeah,
Are they going to agree? Are they going to agree with the people in the comments? Are they going to agree with the like people? What are they going to think about this? Let's play the clip that went viral first, Hamby, and then we'll get to the comment part of this.
Can I just say, I mean, because the guy's pretty mobile, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
A man that mobile and confident on the football field should not be built like that.
Do you think he goes to the weight room?
Do you? Is he doing lower body? Because he ain't doing upper body workouts. My son is more ripped than Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not bragging about my son by any means. It's not like my son's in the weight room, but I'm just saying with my son's diet of sweet tarts and fun dips, and like 3 root beers a day, my son is a lot more ripped than Patrick Mahomes is. Okay, don't like the fact that they cut out Brent's part where we talked about Patrick Mahomes' trunk.
Well, that's I think Hamby cut that part out.
Oh,
he must have.
Just to protect Brent here?
I don't know why he cut that out. That was a good part.
Are we going to protect Brent?
Not really sure why that didn't make it.
I don't either.
I feel like Brent said something. Is that what happened?
Yeah, I said we were talking about Patrick Mahomes' trunk.
No,
Yeah,
but
it
I
was
was saying,
rated G.
did you tell Hamby to cut that part out?
No, I didn't.
Oh,
No.
gotcha.
I thought he was
Okay.
just taking the clip off what was out there.
Okay.
He must have cut that out.
That's what I thought I did.
Nevertheless.
Maybe there's a different version somewhere that you got. But anyway, so let's go to the comments. Or should we not go to the comments?
You guys sure?
No, we're going to the comments for sure. But let me just listen. I'm a sucker for some comments, right? Believe me when I said, so once we got 1 million, I'm like, okay, let me really take a look at this thing here and dive into this a little bit. And I saw like 250 something comments. I'm like, oh, we got to go into this. And believe me when I say that I was on my floor dying laughing at some of the haters. Because listen, this is the first week of the show, okay?
First week.
And so we had like what, 4 or 5 videos?
Yeah, I think
this was our 4th video.
This was the 4th one. We ended up with 5.
First week in the new show, our 4th video, and yeah, I'm flexing right now. Our 4th video, we managed to get over 1 million views on Instagram, and also in doing that, they questioned Brent's sexuality, and they also body shamed, like said I'm a body shamer. No other sports show is doing this, everybody, in the history of sports shows. All right.
And by the way, they question your parenting in it too.
And they question my parenting as well. No other sports show is doing this. All right, let's go.
Here's page 1 of 2.
Did you censor some of this out? Or?
Yeah, I think they did.
Okay,
good. What do you got for us, Hamby? Because
I
can't read that far
All
away.
right, so we got
eyes.
in NFL, Taylor's version, we don't body shame people, okay? Then this guy says, yeah, y'all fruity.
Y'all fruity.
Brent, are you aware of that term?
Fruity.
Yes, I am.
Okay, awesome.
Little too sweet. And by the way, no LX_Savage, and then you have a picture of an old dude in your profile picture. That's fruity. Please continue.
We'll go down to number 4, and yet he's a superstar, and even if he doesn't work out, he's just lucky he's got a dad bod.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Okay.
Cool.
So now we're making fun of people because of how they look.
Yeah, so
that's exactly what we were doing, S. Rozzy.
Can I address this one thing real quick? Listen, I am by no means a therapist or anything like that, but I think that if you can take a look at yourself and laugh at yourself a little bit, I think if anybody can do that on the internet, I feel like you're living life a little better than other people.
Yeah.
Okay? This wasn't, because I have to address it. This is an apology, Brent, because I'm getting roasted in the comments.
You were getting roasted more than me because I complimented his body.
Yeah, exactly. Didn't mean to body shame anybody, okay? Didn't mean to poke fun at somebody's body, okay? I know we're to that point now as a society, and that's my bad, but I'm just saying you all had some good comments about my nose, all right? You had some great comments about my nose, and you know what? I laugh with you because no one's perfect, man. We all have imperfections. Embrace imperfections and laugh at them. Please continue. Sorry.
All right, here we go. So we got, how can you talk crap about Mahomes' build, then brag about giving your kid sweet tarts, fun dip, and root beer?
That's fair. That's fair, but hey, guess what? The kid burns calories, man. He's in wrestling and flag football, okay? I give him whatever he wants because, well, he burns it off. So, next question.
Then we got Cuzzos_fish_Shaq831 saying, having a conversation about another man's body is crazy. Y'all talking like y'all weight room warriors, which, I mean.
Well, listen, my body might be built by Chick-fil-A.
Hey.
But at least, Austin, if he's going to be a weight room warrior, I guess he can go here, right?
Hey, first of all, body by Kathy's Table. There's a little plug. And hey, Cuzzo's Fish Shake 831. Dude, I'm in there twice a day. So what do you want from me?
Yeah.
What do I got to do?
Start doing the show shirtless.
See these traps? We good, man. No, I'm not wearing a neck roll. Traps.
I got a different kind of roll. That's why I was complimenting the trunk.
We got Joshua Lee saying, and he's rich, married to a, quote, baddie, and is happy.
Yeah.
Y'all have a blank podcast.
I didn't see this
and
one.
broke, LOL, who's winning?
Who's winning? Who went viral?
Yeah, no, number one, you're on our commenting about it. And by the way, bank account's okay, and I will put my 401k against yours any day. Bring your Roth IRAs. Bring whatever you got. Joshua Lee, 19, how old is he? Oh yeah, he's one of those olds, 1981. So you're one of those old,
younger than me,
dude. You had
Jelly Roll
6.
fan.
You had 6 years ahead of me to start that 401k, and I guarantee my 401k blasts yours out of the water. Next question, please.
Why do we go to the money card here?
I have no idea. People want to hand podcasts, I guess.
Well, this one, the next guy does as well. This is Thrive Lurk, HRK. What is that?
I don't know.
Anyways, wow, radio guys. Well, first of all, there's a space in between there, so learn a little grammar. Here we go.
Get him.
Radio guys making zero money. Back to the dollar card. Body shaming a $500 million man. I guess whatever makes you guys feel better about your lives.
Yeah, it's entertainment. You know, we had a laugh about it. It got views. Listen, if
this wasn't calculated, by the way, we're just having fun with it.
Listen, I guess the next time I do my promotional Steve Jobs video, more body shaming. more body shaming. All the body shaming. And watch the views just come up.
You know what's funny? I'm just uncomfortable with this going viral for a little bit of the afternoon. So I'm like,
yeah.
What's the feedback going to be on here? Because actually, Liv, when she's texted us like 57,000, she's like, and some of the comments are harsh. I went in and looked at that time. They're only like 18. I was like, Liv, this ain't harsh.
This is not harsh at all. Hey, Liv, try fighting in Australia when people put thousands of dollars for you to win, and then you get knocked out in 40 seconds, and then talk to me about harsh comments and losing your kids' college funds and how angry some people can be at you. This is nothing.
I actually couldn't believe they didn't go to that card for you.
Because
nobody did their research.
They did the research.
Yeah.
I'm just some guy with a man bun, supposedly. By the way, we got some of those comments.
We got one more.
Because I want to address those comments immediately.
Well,
you want to address those comments.
Okay, so Brent,
Dunk Vic 4, and I want to clarify that this is not from me.
Yeah.
He says, well, you have a sissy man bun and a hideous face. Exclamation mark.
Wait, do we have that picture? Because it was a girl that said it.
I have it pulled up, but I do not have it readily available.
Are we
He says,
say about
sad
the
you
girl
don't
that said
have
it?
anything better to talk about.
So yeah, that's what she said. Okay, so here's the thing.
Should I get off the screen for this comment?
No, you're fine. You're fine, Brent. We're going to keep it PG. Okay? I'm not going to say anything bad, but I will say this. When I got the text message that we got 1 million views, did I look at every single comment? You better believe it, right? Because I live for this. Like, I don't get offended, okay? I really don't care. I really don't. So, like, when I saw that comment of this lady, so it's a lady and her husband. What was her name again so we can give her some more love because she wants it? She wants it.
Dunk Vic 4.
There it is. Dunk Vic 4. Okay. So when I saw this comment, which was in the edited comments part, where it's like, oh, this is where the nasty stuff goes. This is where the vile. This is where the vile stuff goes to in the corner, right? So I clicked on that, saw her comment. I'm like, okay, ugly face, check. Man bun. I mean, my hair's down to literally my butt, so I put it up sometimes, but check. And then I looked on her thing, and Brent, I was this close, but I wasn't gonna do it because I'm respectful, right? It's a respectful show. But did I want to say, hey, Vic, run a comb through your hair maybe one time because you got some split ends? I wanted to say it, but I didn't say it, okay, because she commented on my hair. So did I want to say put a comb through that hair a little bit, lady? I did, but I didn't say it, did I? Did I want to say that her split ends kind of look like a National Geographic timeline, or a timeline, like we have the timeline, and then kind of branches off a little bit? Is that what her split ends look like? Yeah, but I wasn't going to put that in the comment. I wasn't talking about it on the show, and I didn't talk about it on the show until now.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. We appreciate all the comments and all the views, apparently.
Yeah. So, hey, so go and clip that video, and then watch me get hated on some more for another 1 million views. I don't care.
We go back and forth. Just wild. It was wild to watch that happen.
Yeah.
That has never happened before.
Yeah.
And it might never happen again.
But
I got a feeling it might.
Oh, I think I have some more offensive stuff in me. Don't worry, man. Hey, I don't got to apologize to anybody anymore. We're not on the other side of the things. You know,
That's
this is kind of our own show now.
It's kind of our own deal. We're
Can we
living
swear
in
or
the
not?
Wild West.
Not yet,
Probably
but
could.
eventually.
But I'm going to stay away from that side of it.
Okay.
So we don't make the TV folks uncomfortable.
No, for sure. But Hamby, one request, because I encountered this at a previous job when I was on the radio. Never delete any comments. Okay? Because we used to have to delete comments when people were being mean and everything. Never delete. I mean, obviously, if it's takes it to a point where people are getting threatened and stuff, by all means. But if we're making someone fun of someone's appearance or stuff like that, never delete any kind of comment whatsoever, man. Because I love that stuff.
By the way, this did have 12,000 likes, so not everybody hated on it.
Without a doubt. or maybe they like to hate on it. Who knows?
One way or another.
Either way, cha-ching. Hey, Instagram. I'll take the check now.
That actually is the beauty of this, which I say to people all the time. It's like, why do people get so obsessed with going viral and doing this stuff? It didn't make me any more money.
Yet.
Maybe not. Yeah, maybe yet.
Yeah,
Maybe
yet. I don't know.
Maybe it will.
I mean, it doesn't hurt. That's all I'm going to say.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah,
That is true.
Yeah.
Hopefully more people watching the show.
Was that your most viral moment? Because you've had some pretty big viral moments in terms of like videos that you shared with, I think, Jalen Ramsey.
Jalen
had a
Ramsey
big
was
one.
the most viral, but nothing like that in a day. Like Jalen Ramsey kind of took over time, especially during the week. But then even like people will still click on that today, and I think it's got like 1.8 million views since the last time I saw it.
But also, you're not getting roasted either in the comments.
Yeah, well, I wasn't. He was.
He was, yeah.
But I've never seen anything like that. I was like, wow, that was wild to actually get a front row seat to watch how it ticked up because we were just watching the numbers unfold. So that is how it happens.
One more, Brent. You were specifically called sus.
Yeah. That's,
you aware of that terminology?
Yes, I am, because that was in like every bit of terminology when the Jalen Ramsey thing blew up on Steve Smith. So, yeah, I mean, not everything goes over my head.
Sounds
Andy.
like
All right?
sounds like
I'm
a
just
new
making
segment.
sure that you're you feel included.
This was all about inclusion.
Andy, this is going to be the new show now. Every single week, probably on a Friday, we're going to have to do it. We're going to have to go to the wall that says it all.
Yep.
Is Brent sus or not? We analyze all Brent's comments from the week, maybe Brent's fashion choices. We break him down. Is he sus, yes or no? And we let Twitter and Instagram decide.
Oh, goodness.
Goodness gracious is right. Hey, let's hit one of these commercial breaks to end the show because I think we slid right by one. So we'll pay the bills a little bit. Make some money off this.
I like that.
Viral post. You can follow us on Instagram with Action Sports Jacks, on TikTok as well, on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, which is X, and on Twitch too. So catch the show all the time, and we'll see if anything else goes viral along the way. That's going to do it for a Monday. Hope you're enjoying it so far. Have a good rest of the day. We'll see you on CBS 47, Fox 30 tonight, and then back at it tomorrow, 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. each and every day, right here on all the social media channels. And don't forget to download the Action News Jacks Now app, because we're coming to that app in just a couple of weeks with the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Have a good day, everybody.
In Northeast Florida, we love hanging out on the back patio, maybe grilling out lunch or dinner with the family, enjoying the good weather, or maybe enjoying the big game on the TV. Or maybe your favorite team in town, the Action Sports Jacks team. This is great, except for when it's really hot or the bugs start coming out. But what if you didn't have to worry about that? Titan Outdoor Solutions will make your outdoor area a comfortable spot any time of the day, any time of the year. This makes too much sense. Titan Outdoor Solutions can give your home an upgrade. Customized pergolas, awnings, controlled shade, even retractable screens. The solution to beating the heat and the bugs and getting more use out of your home is Titan Outdoor Solutions. And this can even help prevent storm damage at your home. Living in Florida and living in your home is already good. Now make it great. Quality products, custom work, locally owned and operated. Visit TitanShuttersAndScreens.com or call 904-484-7580.
Investigative journalism. It's the difference between the Action News Jack style of news and everyone else's.
I'm Ben Becker. This scam is targeting residents on the South Side.
We investigate so you're crystal clear how a story impacts you.
I'm Emily Turner. Take a look at the fine print because you're still getting billed.
Because our reporters don't just tell you what happened. We break down how it affects you and your neighborhood, which is why people are putting their trust in us. Action News Jacks at 5 and 6. It's local coverage you can count on.
Stop by the new car sales event happening right now at Greenway Kia at the Avenues. $500 in a job gets you in a Kia. And Michael Montiero and the staff here at Greenway Kia are here to make it happen. Experience great customer service and become a part of their family. And while you're here, check out the Kia Forte GT line, full of comfort, innovation, and has driver assist technology. And how about the affordable new Kia EV9, the fast-charging, all-new electrical SUV with high-performance capability, 3-row seats with 304 miles of maximum driving range. Over 1,000 new Kia models, some starting at $199 a month. And as always, get the 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty. Come shop at Greenway Kia at the Avenues, located on Phillips Highway. You can shop online at greenwaykiaattheavenues.com. And remember, $500 and a job gets you in a Kia at Greenway Kia at the Avenues.
Before Action News Jacks at 5 breaks today's top stories, know this. We're asking the tough questions for you.
Were you targeting the Tebows?
Our team of reporters are relentless,
Do you have anything to say to your former employees?
working to find answers,
If we wait in the parking lot, you'll talk to us on camera.
never stopping,
Have you paid back any money?
so you know what's really going on.
Your own counsel said it was an investigation.
I'm just asking questions. I mean, is it a conflict in your mind?
Action News Jacks at 5. It's local coverage you can count on.
It's a big month of hoops ahead at UNF Arena. The Ospreys are playing well and in prime position for a good seed in the A-Sun tournament come March. And we want to see you at the arena on February 17th. There's not a game that night, but we do have a lot of fun planned with the Blue and Gray Bash, the annual UNF party. We will be there with Action Sports Jacks. Dan Hicken and I play host. You just bring the fun. The event raises money for student-athlete scholarships at UNF. It's in the arena for the first time. Just click on the QR code you see or head to unfospreys.com for more information. It's an 80s-themed night with a sit-down dinner, drinks, live band, silent auction, and so much more. February 17th, VIPs get in 5:30 until 7 p.m. Then the main event is 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. Celebrate 40 years of athletics at UNF. 80s-themed prom attire. February 17th, the Blue and Gray Bash, bigger than ever before. And don't forget to check out unfospreys.com for news, schedules, results on all things UNF Ospreys.
Streaming right now on Action News Jacks.
Let's get your morning started.
It's local.
Take a look at this surprising video.
It's breaking. It's weather 24/7.
I gotta keep you guys safe.
It's original.
More trucks, more food.
It's entertaining. Now it's new and free. Everywhere, anytime. Stream Action News Jacks wherever you watch.
Perfect Rack Billiards has a deal for you. 50-cent Wing Fridays during lunch. Get out of work early, get a head start on the weekend, or just take a lunch break. 11:30 until 3 p.m. on Fridays. Every Friday, Perfect Rack Billiards with 50-cent wings for lunch on Fridays. A perfect place to stop in Murray Hill, play some pool, play some darts, maybe some shuffleboard. Now, that's a heck of a lunch break. And get those 50-cent wings on Friday. Just